O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJD Construction.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
You damn right, baby. We ready to rock. We ready to roll. It's a beautiful Monday. Welcome aboard to the show. It is time to rock and roll for the next couple of hours. Thank you for joining us after, I would say, a good weekend overall, right? I mean, we still got some COVID stuff we got to deal with. But outside of that, in the sports world, it was a good weekend, right? The Marlins swept the Cubs. Inter, unfortunately, dropped one. I thought the Dolphins actually looked pretty good. I like what I saw from Tua and company. So there were a lot of things to like. There are a couple things to be concerned about. And obviously, I'm sure we're going to touch base on a lot of things today on the program. As always, Omar Kelly will join us today at 10:30 for our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. At noon, Michelle Kaufman's going to stop by to talk a little Inter-Miami football. So we'll have a little fun with her, and we'll talk a little soccer there as the boys unfortunately struggled over the weekend and lost 2-0 to New York City. They've got a game on Wednesday, so we'll talk to her about what happened over the weekend and get the preview for Wednesday. They actually have two games this week. They've got one on Wednesday, and then they've got one on Saturday. And they'll take on Toronto. So we'll see if they can actually pick up some wins. So there's a lot of stuff to go to talk about right now. We got to start off, obviously, with the Miami Dolphins. The Fins didn't win, but I think there was a lot of positives in this game. And I think this was one of those games. If I'm dealing with people that are logical, I think the Dolphins actually got to feel a little better about Tua. I think a lot of you out there, if you watched Tua this weekend, you saw a guy that was really, really comfortable in what he was doing, incredibly accurate. Ball placement was right there. I know that it's the one throw, the interception, and a lot of people aren't going to think about these kind of things, and maybe it's a little bit of an extreme, right? But when I see Tua drop back and he has, Shaheen open, but he wanted to look over to the right because, remember, he had a bracket going on. He had a corner and he had a safety. But at that moment, the first time you look, he had him split, and he would have hit it, and it would have been a touchdown with no problem whatsoever. But I think he looked to the right because he had one-on-one on the corner, and he wanted to see if he could take a shot there quickly without two guys there. But by the time he got back, they closed in, and it was already too late. DB made a play on the ball, and there it goes, and it gets intercepted. There's a part of me, okay, that was thinking a little Marino. And now some of you are going to go, what the hell is he talking about? Well, he put a perfect pass to Shaheen earlier in the quarter, and Shaheen dropped it, right? It was a beautiful pass, and he dropped it. And I'm just wondering if at that moment it's like, well, he dropped my last one. Let me see if I could get it. Oh, okay, no, I got to go back to him. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a young guy kind of goes through. Because you know how Marino was I can't say because there's a bunch of young people out there. You have no effing idea how Marino was. But if you drop balls, Marino wasn't going to go back to your ass. He basically cut your ass out of the offense if you were dropping any passes. So there was a part of me that was like, for a split second there, did he think, well, dude, he just dropped a perfect one that I gave him. Let me see if I can find. Okay, no, I got to go to him. You know what I mean? Which he should have gone to. He made the mistake there, but that's an incredibly correctable mistake. See, if I thought Tua was Jameis Winston, then I would be concerned. because Tua is going to learn from that mistake, and the next time he has that opening, take advantage of it because it closes like a Venus flytrap. And that's what happened to him, that split second that he looked to the right and he went back, boom, Venus flytrap. It's closed. You're done. He learned his lesson. Next time, he'll throw it to him. But there was just a part of me that was thinking, man, did he think he dropped my last one? Let me go over here. Because it was a beautiful pass that he put right there in Shaheen's hands, and he drops it, right? So it's just one of those things. I wonder if that went through his mind just for a split second there, right? And then he ends up throwing the interception. But I thought overall, I thought Tua was terrific, man. I really did. And it helps because I know New York City sports was saying good morning, Big O. Get up on ESPN this morning. Many of the analysts are worried about Tua and don't have any confidence in him. So I told them he's probably watching a bunch of idiots because, I mean, Tua played really well, dude. Really well. It was excellent the way he played. And he doesn't even have all his weapons out on the field. You give him some of his other weapons, and Jalen Waddle wasn't even included practically in this offense, right? So I'm that's without all that other stuff to add to that offense. They're going to be just fine in the passing game. The running game, well, that's a whole different ball game. We'll get into that. But I thought overall Tua looked in control, looked comfortable as hell. He knew where he was going overall, had conviction with his passes, was accurate, was on time. Ball placement was beautiful, kept guys in stride. The deep ball to Gesicki was laid like in a bread basket. It's one of those things where Gesicki, mentioned that he throws a very catchable ball, and it is true, man. I mean, the way he puts it perfectly. The only way you drop it is if you're Adam Shaheen. That's about it, because that was a beautiful pass he put to Shaheen. Think about this. That one, the one of Matt Collins that was called back also, there were a couple other plays in there that he could have made if it wasn't for penalty or drop. You know what I'm saying? So I thought overall, considering they couldn't really run the ball, I thought Tua was absolutely fantastic on Saturday. I was incredibly happy with Tua. And I think that should calm some of the people that are overreacting about Tua. They should feel a little better right now about all of this. I mean, it's the first step to those people absolutely eating their words for, talking shit about Tua way too quickly and giving up on the kid, which is just absolutely ridiculous that people give up on these young players right away and they don't give them any time to develop. And this week, I think you'll see another step forward. I think you'll see them play about a half, because this seems to be the game 3 dress rehearsal type. I think the following week is the game you use some of your stuff that you're trying to clean up. If people struggle this week, then you'll have maybe the offensive, maybe it's Brissett that starts, not Tua. If Tua goes out there this week and balls out again like this, they're going to rest him in week 3, and they'll have Brissett and they'll have the O-line play a lot more, because that's what you should do. You should play the O-line in every game because they need the playing time. There are certain guys that need the playing time. Noah Igbenogany, you got to get him out there. Jared Dokes, got to get him out there. You got to get all these other guys out there that you don't know too much about. Those are the guys you're going to play in game 3 a lot, or in the second half of this week's game coming up against the Falcons. And the good thing is, again, they're going to get a couple of practices in before that preseason game. So that'll be more preparation for this week, better preparation for the O-line, better preparation for Tua, all of those kind of things. But I think that this was the right first step in this preseason for Tua. Okay, I'm just talking about Tua overall. Loved what I saw from Tua. I thought it was an excellent start for him outside of the one interception. And to me, when I talk to you about the scenario, I just think it's something that's incredibly easy to fix when it comes to Tua, right? So to me, that was one that really stood out to me overall, and I thought I felt really good about Tua. Now, the other one that I kind of laugh at, and this is the offensive play calling, right? And this has become, you know, double secret situation or whatever. Can't call it probation because that's not what it is, but it's like this double secret type of system that they've got going. And Joe Shad wanted to try to clean it up and follow up on a question in the in the press conference. So hey, you don't want to tell us exactly how it all breaks down. And he's like, no, it could be 6 people calling it, and it's not. Look, can I break it down for you? Let me break it down in its simplest form, and I got to tell you something. I really like what they're doing. Yeah, I again, this is another reason why I like Flo, because even if he does something that might be a little bit out of the norm, there's still a lot of method to the madness when he's doing it, right? And you've got all these second guessers and these negative Nellies, and they're all trying to pick apart what's going on and this and that, and trying to find some negative in it, right? Because really that's why you're digging into it instead of more about the intrigue about, hey man, how did you come about this, and why is it, and why do you feel that it's good to use each guy and his strength and all those kind of things. It's more about trying to find holes in what they're doing, right? Some media members, I'm not telling you all, but it seems to me that that's what it is, that there's kind of an agenda on trying to knock on something that you haven't even allowed it to play out, right? Which is, can we let it play out a little bit at least? Can we do that, right? But let me explain to you why I love what they're doing. Okay, so you know that Godsey and Studsville, Godsey's the passing guy, Studsville's the running guy. Godsey is calling the game, okay? And what they're doing is they're relaying the play to Charlie Fry, and then Charlie Fry is replaying, is then telling Tua what the play is. Now, some of you are going to go, well, wait a minute, this is convoluted, bro. You got to, one guy tells another guy, and then the other guy tells the quarterback. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because Godsey and Studsville, or Studsville, I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, Seiler. Neither one of those guys played quarterback in the NFL. Neither one of those guys is a quarterback. Guess who is a quarterback? Charlie Fry. Guess who played in the NFL? Charlie Fry. So while you have Godsey and Studsville watching the game and what's going on and watching their expertise, they're relaying stuff to Fry, and Fry's the guy that relays the play. But don't you think during that span and that time, Fry is also telling Tua, hey, watch out, safety's cheating more on the left side of the field because he's anticipating this, that, whatever. Hey, take advantage. The strong safety's dropping back a little bit. Gesicki might be open on this play inside because he's a quarterback. He played in the NFL. He knows exactly what Tua's going through. Plus, he knows Tua from his days in high school because he was coaching Tua fresh out of high school. I freaking love this. I think it's genius on their part, right? Because you're using everybody to their strengths. Godsey's called plays before. He knows the passing game. Studsville knows the running game. And if they want to run a play here, then Studsville will say, okay, this is better suited. Go with this, Charlie. Charlie then relays it to Tua. They get the play in. They get it done. Boom, it's over. In the red zone in that game that they ran twice, they would have passed. You got there with the pass. You didn't get there with the run, but they wanted to work on their running game, which there is no running game right now. And so that's what they were trying to do there. Don't overreact on that. Don't even think, oh, that was a poor coaching decision. No, that's preseason, and you're trying to, you got there with the passing game. So they're like, okay, passing game's working. Our running game isn't working. Let's see if the boys can punch it in. And they gave them 2 shots and they failed. So that was what it was all about. But the way things are breaking, ladies and gentlemen, don't freak out. Okay? Stop trying to find a negative in it or whatever. Let's let it play out. But the way it's situated, the triangle that they've got going on, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. It is well thought out. It is well planned. And it gives your quarterback the best opportunity to succeed because through his headset, he is hearing another former NFL quarterback talk to him. And that's incredibly important because Charlie Fry has seen everything that Tua's going to see. And he can tell him about everything that he's going to see. And then every week when he's meeting with Godsey, with Studesville, and with Charlie Fry, there is a synergy throughout all of this because they're preparing all week long. They're watching tape all week long. And so Tua gets to watch tape, gets to ask questions to a guy that actually played in the league. It's really, really, really smart, man. I really like what they're doing there with the Miami Dolphins on the offensive staff and the way they've got it broken down. So, folks, I'm telling you, let's just let it play out. Hopefully it works. But if I'm reading it right, I really like the way it's broken down. So I don't really care whether the coach wants to tell me or not. I kind of figured it out on my own what it is. And it's not that big a deal. It's not like it's rocket science. And it's not something that we need to really, bust our heads about. It's just, I think, a well thought out plan by them. I hope it's executed properly. I hope they have success when it's all said and done. But I like the way it's structured. I really do. And I think it gives Tua an opportunity to really succeed. And to me, that's what it's all about right there. So those are a couple things that I saw in the game. Obviously, we got to talk a little bit about the O-line. And I know some people are already panicking about the O-line. All right, now I want to put it this way, okay, folks? The person that is complaining about the O-line is the same dude that was complaining about Tua. And now that dude is, that whole scene where you've got Bart Simpson's dad, I forgot the Homer. He's disappearing in the bushes. All those Tua haters are disappearing in the bush after week 1 because the kid looked really, really good. All you Jakeem doubters, you're all disappearing in the bush because you saw again why he's so freaking important. You know what I mean? And you saw his returns. He changes the game. You just don't get rid of that. You don't allow that to walk out the door like that. You know what I mean? You keep things like that because that gives you one hell of an advantage when you've got 2 returners like that. You know what I mean? So you've got all these people that are disappearing, right? So now the new flavor of the week is let's bitch and complain about the O-line. Oh, my God, my DMs was loaded. And I don't know if you guys, some of you were embarrassed to put it on Twitter or whatever, but wow. The overreaction about the O-line is just, did Austin Jackson play well? No, he did not. I get that, dude. I get that they got dogged quite a bit. Austin Jackson kind of like did enough in pass protection, even though he was kind of off balance and just barely did enough so Tua can get passes off. And one, he got almost tripped into the legs of Tua. I don't know if it was in that it was in one of the completions that he got actually, trucked into Tua. So yeah, he did not play well. I get that. And I know that, he's going up against what's this guy's name? Robert Quinn, right? And then he had the other guy, Jeremiah Tashu, or whatever the guy's name is. And he was like number 50. He was playing pretty well too, actually. And so, yeah, he struggled against those guys. I thought Solomon Kinley actually played pretty well. I thought he did a pretty good job. I looked over the game again yesterday. I thought Dieter wasn't too bad either. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't too bad. Look, the line did not do well. They could not get any penetration so they can run the ball at all. They couldn't push people off the line. Nobody was doing anything to really assist the running game, okay? They struggled big time. They did just enough for Tua to find people in the passing game. And the Bears have a pretty good front. They've got some guys that can get after the quarterback. Even the guys that were healthy were pretty damn good. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Again, stop jumping the train here. Stop getting ahead of yourselves. You got to stop doing that kind of stuff. Let's give these guys a little time here to try to figure things out. This is only the first preseason game. And they had a pretty, tough matchup against that Bears front. They still have a lot of, even though they were missing a couple guys, they still had enough players to cause havoc for you, which is good work for the offensive line, actually. It's good for them to go through this right now. Did they look good in the run game? No way, dude. Pass game, they did barely just enough to get by. I get all of that, man. I totally understand it, ladies and gentlemen. But again, I wouldn't react too badly to it being, oh my God, this is what the finished product is. And this is just flavor of the week complaining now. So we've moved on, or some of you have moved on from Tua, and now you're going to talk about the O-line. And you were complaining about Jakeem Grant, and then you watch him, and you're like, okay, well, this is a game changer. It's almost like the offseason was too long for some of you, and you forget what Jakeem Grant does as a returner. It's funny, but this is what it is now. So this week, let's complain about the offensive line. Look, it's what I say all the time. You could go to a restaurant, right, and have a terrific meal. 99.9% of the time, you're going to forget, refuse, not even do it, and go pull the maitre d' and say, hey, can you go tell the chef, this is the best lobster I've ever had. This is the best seafood soup. This is the best steak I've ever had. This is the best whatever. You never do that. Now, if it's cold, if it's undercooked, if it's got a hair, they're going to hear the hell from you. So we rarely ever take the time to actually praise people. But when something's not going on, because this week you can't complain about Tua, so now you'll complain about the O-line. This week you can't complain about Jakeem Grant, so you'll complain about the offensive line. And if they play well this week, then Noah Igbenogany will be the next target, because obviously he's the other target that people want to talk about. And I get it. It's, some guy goes to me, well, this whole offensive line issue, they better solve it, man. Chris Greer is failing. And then I go back to him, I say, hey, can you remember the next GM that hit on a quarterback and a head coach? Because, the same Chris Greer you're picking on for the O-line is the same Chris Greer that found Tua and found Flores, right? So he hit on a coach, and I'm sure he found the quarterback. Some of you out there aren't still convinced. I don't really give a shit. Tua's going to be awesome. I'm not worried about Tua whatsoever. He's going to be a baller. And then you'll forget. But, it's the same thing. It's like, well, you complain about the offensive line. Well, yeah, right. But he's the same guy that found Van Ginkel, right? So you forget that. Oh, I get it. He's the same guy that found Nick Needham right off the street. Oh, I get it. You want to complain about whatever you want to complain about. He's the guy that it looks like Javon Holland's already on his way, right? Same guy. No, I know, but you want to try to find the things you got to complain about. Oh, the bargain in Agba. Oh, okay, it's the same guy. But no, you want to complain about the offensive line. Oh, I get that now. It's all convenience. The same guy that found X. Same guy. No, but let's complain about the O-line at the moment when it's not even a finished product, when we're not done yet, but we want to get ahead of ourselves and we want to bitch and moan and complain about something that isn't even, we don't even have all the facts yet. That's like there's the opening arguments in court and you've already made your decision and you're sitting in the juror's box. It's like, well, wait a minute, dude. The facts haven't even been displayed yet. You haven't heard from the witnesses. Now I've gotten, no, that's it. I'm done. O-line's done. They suck. Chris Greer sucks. He can't find an O-lineman. Oh, okay. All right. So you made your mind up already. I can't help you if you've made up your mind already. But the same guy that made up his mind about the O-line is the same guy that made up his mind about Tua already. And all those people killing Tua, you're looking kind of silly right now because he looks really good. Played really well overall. And that defense dominated too. 2 first downs in the first half. Overall, I like what I saw. Are there a couple things to worry about? Of course. It's preseason. It's a young team. They're still developing. This isn't a finished product. Nobody has said that this is a finished product. So, how long have you been a Dolphins fan? Oh, no, you're asking somebody else. Brooklyn Rob says people just love the negative. They would rather be right and see Tua fail than be wrong and see Tua succeed. I agree. I say amen to that, Big O. Well said. Dave Wanstead ain't walking through that door. Too Extreme says, what up, Big O? There's a reason why no coaching staff or front office values a fan's opinion. LOL. Fans criticize anything just to criticize instead of looking at the big picture of things. Yep. It's like crypto. It's like people like are complaining like, oh, well, Ethereum hasn't moved. It's stuck at 2,200, 2,100. Yeah, well, we were stuck at 16 and 1,700 5 months ago. And we were at 300 a year ago. What's your point? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You invested a month ago. So you were expecting it to go to 10,000 in a month. But it's already moved quite a bit. Patience. Here it is at 3,000, 300. It's the same thing. It's like you look at it micro, but you don't look at it macro. It's like Crow. Crow is one that went up to like 24 cents, right? And then it went down to like 9 or 10. You look at Crow now and you go, well, wait a minute. What's going on with Crow, right? And you look at it in the last month. Let's see, where is it? In the last month, and there's the graph. That's the last month. That's a month, and you see it all the way up. But if you look at it as short term and only a day, there might be a day where it's down and this and that. But look at it macro, not micro. And that's the problem we have in today's world. Everybody wants to look at things, not everybody, but some of you want to look at things micro and not macro. And the big picture is, it's like the people that might complain about Chris Greer. Okay, wait a minute, dude. Since he took over, he found the coach. Looks like he found this quarterback. They went from 5 wins to 10 wins. What's your effing complaint about Chris Greer? It's like, really? That's what I got over the weekend. I'm like, what are you complaining about, dude? What is there to complain about? Life is good as a Dolphins fan right now. Everything's trending upwards. So you win 5 with a team that had no talent. Then you win 10, almost get into the playoffs. If you end up developing a quarterback this year and slip into the playoffs, can you imagine what kind of progress that is? I'm not worried so much about everything else. Just let's think about the base of everything. 3 years in, you make it to the playoffs, you found the quarterback, you found the head coach. What effing more do you want? Right? Again, it's complain to just complain. That's all it is. It's not anything complaining with substance behind it. It's complaining to find the next thing to freaking whine about. It's really positive what happened this week. Is it perfect? Of course not. And who the hell said at the beginning of year 3, the Dolphins were supposed to be the 73 Dolphins? Perfect. Seriously. Come on, man. It gets to a point where it's just ridiculous. Well, what can I tell you? It is what it is. By the way, Chapman got number 1. And don't forget, folks, please smash the hell out of the like button. It is so important to smash that like button. It's one of the most important things that you will do for us is smash the like button, share the link with folks, the YouTube link, the podcast link. If you're listening later on in the afternoon, the evenings, anytime that you're listening, we thank you as always for supporting the hell out of the show. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, like, we got some yesterday at Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Twitter, Big O Show. Follow us there on Twitter at Big O Show. You'll find out everything that's going on with the show. Of course, you can chime in on the YouTube chat board, which is always there. And then Cash App and Venmo, great ways to support us. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Please reach out to us there. Also, great way. Xavier Blaze says, LOL, show that bank, Big O. Don't be shy. Oh, and the crow. You noticed it. It's not a lot. Actually, it's not a lot because most of it is staked anyways. So I don't really have, it's not really a lot on this one right here. So there you go. Here, I'll show it. It's not a lot. It's like $400 or whatever it is. Right? $479. So it's not a lot on that whole thing. And see, you look at the day and look at that dip right there. But if you look at the month, there you go. It's up. That's the whole thing, man. So that's what you gotta, that's the way you gotta look at it, folks. Macro, not micro. You know what I'm saying? All right, we are awaiting my man Omar Kelly for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. And hopefully we will get Omar in a second here, and he will pop in and join us, and we'll start talking a little Miami Dolphins with him. Then I'll get to your questions and comments and all kinds of complaints and all that stuff. Big Gary says, Big O, they want Mike Tannenbaum back. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. You want him back with a full bottle of kale pectate is what you're going to need too at the same time if you want him back. That's for damn sure. All right, so let's do this. Let's take a really quick break. We will get Omar Kelly when we come back. We will have the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O.
The Big O Radio Show is home for the hardcore Dolphins fan. That's why we give you Omar Kelly twice a week. Buckle up. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
All righty, we are ready to rock. We are ready to roll. We are waiting for Omar Kelly and the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. We'll get Omar here in a minute, and we'll get hooked up, and we'll get ready to go and talk a little bit about the Dolphins this weekend as they took on the Bears. And there were, again, I think there was a lot of things to be positive about. I think it was a good first step overall. yeah, there's things to clean up on the offensive line. There's things to clean up with certain players. I thought Noah Igbenogany, yes, he had that one good play, but then he had a couple of other negative plays after that. And you could tell that this is a kid that it's a project, because while he's supremely gifted, he has to kind of develop the skill set, not the skill set, I'm sorry, the instincts to play that position, because he's only been playing it for a couple of years. Now we're asking him to play it at the highest level possible in the NFL. So this is going to be one hell of a challenge for Noah. And this is part of the process. So as gifted as he is, there's going to be a learning curve. And I think it's another reason why, they wanted X on this team badly this year, and why they were willing to give him money this year, not next year, but this year they gave him the money, because they knew that Noah needed another year of grooming and getting some playing time. And that's the important part about the next two preseason games in the second half. Well, hell, he might even play most of the third game. He might play a lot of that game. And that's why this kid needs a lot of playing time. He needs opportunities to kind of grow into that position. And this is where he's going to make a lot of, he's not used to learning or getting a feel for wide receivers, down in and down out. He's used to being one. So now he's got to put himself in the mind of one and think like them. And then he's going to have to learn the players. That's another thing these guys have to learn. They will learn the habits of all of these receivers as they watch them over and over again and face them over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So there are different issues here going on with Noah, but this is part of the learning curve with Noah. And this is why you can't expect things to happen overnight with the kid, because we're talking about a young man that doesn't have a ton of experience at that corner spot. He's got to kind of learn how to become a corner. And that's the challenge for him, unfortunately. But that's not an excuse. That's the reality of all of this. Michael Campbell says, Big O, Tua got killed for Mike Florio went and twisted what he said. Justin Fields said the game was slow after playing Miami's third team defense, and the media loves it and calls for him to be QB1. Well, I mean, what can I tell you, bro? Listen, man, I can't answer or defend the stupid. You understand me? So what can I tell you, dude? I know what I see. So I can't explain the idiots that are, against Tua and knocking Tua the entire time and overreacting with Justin Fields. Look, this is the same crap. Penei Sewell got smoked by Greg Rousseau for a sack, right? He did all right, actually, in the day. But if that would have happened here in Miami, they would have killed Penei Sewell. And they would have killed Chris Greer. Oh, my God, he allowed a sack. And what do you expect? You think he's going to play clean football his whole career? No, he's going to make mistakes, and he's a rookie. So Penei got beat by Greg Rousseau. Big freaking deal. It's going to happen, bro. Even a Penei Sewell. So Austin Jackson struggles? I mean, think about it. He's super young. He hasn't developed completely yet, and he's inexperienced. He's got a year under his belt. It's not like this guy is a seasoned veteran or anything like that. Austin Jackson's got a lot to learn. And Penei Sewell, as gifted as he is, he's going to have to, and he got beat by a rookie. It wasn't like he was playing against, a 7, 8, 10-year veteran like Austin Jackson was playing against a seasoned veteran. That's the difference. But again, you can never make some people happy. And I guarantee you that if Penei Sewell was wearing a Dolphins uniform and he gets beaten down by Greg Rousseau, we're hearing two things. One, they drafted the wrong defensive end in Jalen Campbell because he's not playing, but Greg Rousseau is, and he got a sack. And two, they drafted Penei Sewell. That bum gave up a sack. That's what would have happened. The same people that were slamming Tua, the same people that want Jakeem traded, the same people now that are slamming the offensive line would have done the same thing to Penei Sewell. They wouldn't have said, well, he's a rookie. No, dude, he's a 6th overall pick. He should be a plug-in player, and he shouldn't be giving up any sacks whatsoever, because Richmond Webb never gave up a sack ever in his life. His entire career, he went without giving a sack. Yeah, you're just not going to make certain people happy. It's not good enough for them that since Chris Greer and Flo took over, all you see is improvement. Since Chris Greer took over, it looks like he found the coach and looks like he found the quarterback, which, by the way, has never been done in Dolphin history. Let me repeat that again, just in case, because we got a lot of people watching. Maybe some of you are watching for the first time. Some of you are downloading. In the history of the Miami Dolphins, no GM has ever found a coach and a quarterback. Okay? And Shula doesn't count because he was the GM, kind of. So he was the head coach. That didn't count. But since Shula left, no other GM that took over was able to find a coach and a quarterback. The two hardest positions to fill. So if Chris Greer found his coach and a quarterback, I'm not worried. I think he'll find everything else, dude. I'm good. I'm really happy. That's the stat you need. Is when somebody tells you that and they complain about Chris Greer, go, well, wait a minute. If he hits on the coach and he hits on the quarterback, what's your effing problem, dude? Because we haven't had a coach and a quarterback here in forever. So, he'll find all the other pieces, because you got idiots like, I got a guy that sent me a tweet that was like, well, if he doesn't fix the offensive line, he should be fired. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let's say he doesn't fix the offensive line, but he found a quarterback and a coach, he still gets fired? And the guy never answered back because he probably thought like, oh, crap, that's right. Because nobody thinks about that, but the whiner, the complainer, that's all they're going to do. They're going to want to find something to complain about. Things are really good as Dolphin fans. Like everything's trending in the right direction. This is not the time to be like, wigging out and losing it and thinking that you got no shot at doing anything, which is a bunch of crap. This team's doing really, really well. They're trending in the direction that you want. They're trending in the direction we've wanted them to trend for decades now. But it's not going to happen overnight. And that's the problem. Everybody wants their quarterback to be perfect right from the get-go. You want your offensive line to be perfect from the get-go. You want Flo to be perfect from the get-go. It's like the people that say, well, he can't keep a coaching staff together. I get that one every once in a while too. And it's like, what are the results, a-hole? Who gives a crap, dude? He's getting rid of people that he doesn't like. He wants to get the next. So what do you want him to do? Keep Olivedati around? How'd that work out? You want to keep starting Jamar Fletcher? I mean, do I need to remind you of the things? You want to re-sign Joe Philbin an extra year because he won a meaningless game against Minnesota? Do I need to remind you of the history of the Miami Dolphins of keeping people around? This is the only fan base that I've ever heard that people are complaining that he's firing coaches. Yeah, if you don't do the job, why wouldn't you get fired? What do you want to do? Keep around Joe Philbin? That's what they used to do. Okay? They used to do that kind of stuff. Even Shula made that mistake at times that he was too loyal to certain guys. This guy's loyal to winning and results. So don't worry. If Noah Igbenogany cannot play, eventually he's going to say, that's what that guy does. He only tolerates it for a certain amount of time, and then he moves on and gets the next guy. They traded a second-round pick for Josh Rosen, and right away it didn't work out. Get the hell out of here. They don't care if you're a high draft pick. They're going to move on to the next person. And guess what? That's responsible as hell. That's the way it's supposed to be done. All the time, all we do is praise Belichick for getting rid of players and getting off the gravy train. And it's like, whoa, he's trading Richard Seymour? Well, yeah. He's trading Lawyer Malloy? Yeah. Yeah, he's trading whatever. And every time he trades them, it's because they're falling off the deep end. Sometimes they might actually still have some gas left, once in a blue moon. But more often than not, he's trading them. And then he gets praised for all of that. Meanwhile, these guys get ripped for firing guys. These guys get ripped, like Chris Greer's getting ripped because right now the offensive line didn't play well in preseason game number 1. And yet the guy that's complaining about the O-line, well, wait a minute, didn't he find the head coach? That's a pretty damn good job. Did you not just go through Gase and Philbin and Sperano and Cameron and Wannstedt? I'm sorry, I must have missed it. I must have missed a string of Hall of Fame coaches that came here before Flores. Wow. I must have missed those doozy of hires over the years. I must have missed all that winning that they've done. Like, it's really amazing to me how some fans, it's like they're never satisfied with anything. And I get it, dude. I get it. It's sucked for 20 years. It has. Before these guys took over, I almost felt like there was no hope. I'm with you, man. I suffered along with you guys. And trust me, it's actually where I feel it's worse for us older fans than even you younger fans. You know why? You younger fans, you don't know what it's like to win and have Marino and have Greasy and have the 70s teams and have the 80s teams and have those early 90s teams. You guys don't know what it feels like. We do. We know exactly what perfection looks like. We know exactly what Zonka looks like carrying 8 people for 27 yards. We know exactly what it looks like when Marino's balling out. We know exactly about all that stuff. So we already saw the good times. Boy, trust me, it's harder on us. Because after watching that logo there, that one right there, you see that logo there? Created by the Robbies and Shula, that logo there used to mean something. That was a prideful logo. So trust me, it hurts us. It hurts us. We used to walk into the Orange Bowl with our chest inflated, knowing you were going to win 99.9% of the time at the Orange Bowl. I get it. It hurts. But times are better, man. Relax, take a step back. They have progressed in a big-time way. They've got a much better coaching staff. They've got a much better front office now, and they've got a team that is trending in the right direction. But it's not going to, and I get it. It's 25, 30 years of frustrations, maybe 40 years if we go back to the Super Bowls and all that stuff. So I get it. We're like the Mount St. Helens. And we're ready to erupt, and we're frustrated, and we want everything done right away. But that's just not the way it happens. And asking a Dolphin fan to be patient is not the easiest thing in the world. I totally understand all of that. I've been doing this job for 31 years now. Taking your phone calls, your faxes, your emails, your texts, seeing you at games, seeing you at bars, whatever, hanging out with all of you and talking. I get your frustrations, man. I live it. I feel it. But you have to take a step back and look at the macro, not the micro. Stop looking at what happened on Saturday with the O-line and make that domino like it's everything in the world is coming to an end. That's just not the case. Defense looked good. 2 in the passing game looked good, and they're not even at 100% yet. Special teams, you saw you got 2 returners now. I mean, it's beautiful, man. There's a lot of things to talk about. You got a damn good coaching staff. You got a front office that'll make moves. Stop complaining. Stop whining. Enjoy the damn ride. I've been telling you guys this for over 2 years now, haven't I? From when this rebuild started, I told you, embrace this, enjoy it. Instead of fighting it, enjoy it, man, because it's only going to get better, and it's going to culminate with a Super Bowl, and you are going to feel great about this, that you, from the get-go, to that Super Bowl, you're going to go, wow, man, finally. And this was a fun-ass ride all the way to the Super Bowl. Don't fight it, man. Embrace a lot of the good things that are going on. The others will fall into place. They've got what has Flo's team done, and I've repeated this over and over, from the beginning of a season to the end of a season, from the beginning of a game to the end of the game in 2 years. They have improved. So this is the worst that you will see this team. It will get better as the weeks go on. That's the proof under that dude. That everything, just like, I hate to make the comparison, but just like Shula, his teams always got better. This guy, his teams get better. Macro, not micro, macro, please. That's the picture. You don't look at 0-7 in the first year. You look at the end where you end up 5-11 because you won 5 of your last 9 games. That's what you got to look at. And since that 0-7 start, they've been a pretty damn good team overall. Just chill, man. Give it some time. Everything will work. I believe everything will work out. And please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Where the hell is Omar? Omar, where the hell are you, bro? Okay, he wants to do 11 a.m. So Omar will join us in 9 minutes. Okay? All right. So 9 minutes, we will get Omar at 11 a.m. There you go. So it happens. What are you going to do? C. Dola says, you should have an idiot fan, Albert Alert O. Well, yeah, I mean, we have that. We have certain things. We do have a
blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
We have the blind ass fan alert. That, that kind of, that's the unrealistic fan one way or another. So we've got the blind ass fan alert. That's kind of what it is. Jimmy Satterfield says, Omar, you're late. That's right. He's late. Emilio Pupo says, best front office we've had in a long, long time. I agree. Francisco says, never seen anything like this in my years as a fan. Unbelievable. So much negativity. It's amazing to me. It really is. We should be enjoying the hell out of this. I mean, I am. I don't care about those fans that want to take I'm enjoying the hell out of this ride, dude. Seriously, I love what's going on here. I love everything I'm seeing from them. I just think we're back to where we needed to be, is having a real organization now that can build a team, coach it up, all those kind of things. So for me, I'm enjoying the hell out of this ride. Big O offering free therapy for negative fans. There you go. Rosendo says, glory, glory, hallelujah. Can I get an amen, Big O? There you go. The Finns used to be the way the Pats have been the last 20 years, and we were hated for it. I agree. The Dolphins were good in the 70s. There was a time we beat the Bills without a loss in that decade. Yeah, it was 20 straight. So, you're not concerned about the O-line. Yeah, of course I'm concerned about the O-line. But I'm not concerned to the point where I've given up on it. Oh, that's it. Austin Jackson can't play. That's all. No, they can't get it done. I'm not there. You know what I mean? Yeah, they didn't play well. But this is not the end of the decision already. That's it. I've got to give them time to play well, to put it together. And that's what we've got. That's how we're got to be fair to these guys. And I will say this, but again, too early to do it after one game. But my idea last week of Eichenberg's naturally a left guy, put him on the left side and then move Austin over to the right and have him battle with Jesse, either way or whatever, that might be an option down the line, might be something they could think of. But right now you can't. You got to allow Austin a couple games and see if he can get it done. Michael Pulisic says, Big O, if we don't make the playoffs, these guys will want Flores gone immediately. They're nuts. They think we can be in the Super Bowl this year. Well, no, that's ridiculous. They're not going to be in the Super Bowl this year. But they have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs. So there you go. Zin Zim says, I'm not a Greer fan. Well, there you go. I mean, if you don't like a guy who can find a quarterback and a head coach, then I can't help you really. So Ian from Brooklyn says, Big O, stop trying to make sense. Some of these folks ain't ready. Mac Townsend says, why would they draft Noah in the first round if he needs so much work at CB? Should draft a player who plays his position well and ready to go. Third round and beyond, fine. Yeah, but he's not a third round talent. He's a much higher end talent. And so that's why. The guy that shut down Devonta Smith is Noah. He has his moments. He can play, but sometimes there's a little bit of a developmental phase that goes through, and it's just not Noah. There's plenty of guys that have been like that throughout the league that they've had to kind of develop into a different position. So this is not the first time that a player does this. Again, Pat Surtain was lost in his first year. So let's see what happens in this second year. Maybe the light goes on and the kid's fine, and then you move on, and it's no big deal. Plenty of guys struggle in their first and second years, even knowing the position. Knowing the freaking position, they struggle it. So can you imagine some guys? That's how it is. It's part of the process. Let's see. Two Extreme says, let the guys who run the team continue to do their job they get paid to do because they know what they're doing and they are phenomenal at their jobs building this team up. I think they have been so far. Big O, we have to remind these fans, Greer and Beeflo have built this team in 2 years. That's unheard of. Please keep the same energy when we're winning this season. Exactly. Well, they'll find something to complain about even in the loss. That's what's going to, even in a win, they're going to end up complaining about something. Pat in Nashville says, I have missed one game since 96. Thanks, DirecTV. I've seen all the bad. This team is building something special, and I'm not even sold on Tua having it yet. There you go. AJ Martin says, development and patience is needed. Most fans don't have that. This year will be okay. Enjoy the ride. There you go. He's with me. R. Rod says, we'll be fine. Our offense is going to put up a lot of points this year, and our defense will prevent opponents from scoring them. Good combination. And R-Rod, thank you for visiting us over at Acura on Friday. Very nice of you, my brother. Thank you, as always. And I see we've got a couple of visitors, I think. Let me see what we got going on here. Kelly Ramos, thank you. Appreciate you visiting us, giving us a little love on the Cash App. Very nice of you. And on Venmo, we got Donnie Urig. Donnie, thank you, sir. Appreciate you, my man. And remember, Cash App and Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show to make a donation to the program and help us grow. So thank you all out there for donating to the program. Love having Tua. I forgot what it's like to see a receiver get Tannehill. Redhead Kane says, they made a big deal for the Bears QB. He did that on our third team. He couldn't do nothing on our second team. And the second team wasn't even, is nothing like the first team. And the first team didn't even have its first team corners. That's the other thing. And they played an experienced quarterback, at least in Dalton. So Dalton and Fields, I get it, bro. He ran around, made a couple passes in the back end of the game where, good for him, actually. I like Justin Fields, man. I'm rooting for the kid, not against the Dolphins, but I'm rooting for the kid. I hope he does well. Xavion Blaze says, well, we shouldn't watch this season, I guess. O-line looked bad in preseason, game 1. Ridiculous. Exactly, Xavion. You are so correct, my man. You are so correct. All right, let's take the quick break. Let's get Omar Kelly and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report That is next.
The Big O Radio Show is home for the hardcore Dolphins fan. That's why we give you Omar Kelly twice a week. Buckle up. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
All righty, we are ready to rock and roll. It is the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with the one and only Omar Kelly. Oh, are you? You're half Cuban, right? Is that what it is?
I am.
Is that why you're a half hour late?
I'm 1/3 Cuban. My kids are an even higher percentage. My mother's father's Cuban.
Okay. Okay. I knew there was a Cuban involved in there. You're a half hour. Cubans are late to their own funerals, bro. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know?
I think it's technically I'm 25% Cuban. Yes.
Well, it was 100% what took a blame for this half hour here. We'll blame it on the Cuban side.
That's what it is.
And I can say that, by the way. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's the rule. You can pick on your own. So that's the way it goes. All right. First of all, let's start off with Tua. I thought he played really, really well. That one decision, which was the interception to the tight end. And you know what? I thought of a little Marino. And follow me on this. He drops back and he goes, I got him open. But, dude, he dropped my last one. Let me look quickly over there at the one-on-one on that side. But when he came back, that bracket closed in on him and it was over. And he made the mistake. And I don't even know if he really thought that because he doesn't think. Like Marino would, he would take it out on your ass. If you drop balls, you were out of the game plan. He was going to find somebody else. Screw you. I don't think Tua was thinking that. I'm having some fun with it. But outside of that one pass, I really like what I saw from the kid, considering he didn't have, a great line in front of him. But at least in pass protection, they gave him enough time.
They did give him enough time. Certainly the line is something that probably needs the most work out of all the rest of the team. But Tua showed the fans in the season opener what we've kind of consistently seen in training camp, not necessarily the joint practices, but in training camp: accuracy, anticipation, pocket presence. And I can tell you he's very efficient in the red zone, despite what you saw. I know he blames himself for that being a late throw, but, Adam Shaheen was open technically. He was open. That was a great play by the defensive player. Yeah.
The first time.
And he's gonna. The thing about Tua is there's no question that he's intelligent enough. He's hardworking enough. He's gonna learn and he's gonna grow from that. And every mistake that you add on to the pile, it's just gonna be a frame of reference that he has that allows him to build that index that makes him a better player.
Yeah. See, I said earlier in the show is if he's Jameis Winston, I don't know if he learns from that mistake because he'll make it again and he'll make it again. Like some other quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, this is not this kid. He'll learn from that moment there. And the next time he'll let it go earlier and he'll have Shaheen easily open for the touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's where I don't worry so much about him. I actually think it's a good thing for him to have that one mistake out of that entire performance because you think about it, Shaheen has the drop. They also have the penalty on the other play to Foster, right? And so you have the interception. You clean that up, and man, it would have been one amazing performance.
Well, yeah, don't forget if they would have scored when they were at the goal line. I think
they would have passed there. In a real game, they would have passed it. They were just trying to run it.
I don't think they would have passed there from this standpoint. Brian Flores wants to be a physical running team. He just can't get there. And they worked on it. I watched them work on it. I watched them work on it for the past 2 weeks. Goal line punching in, goal line runs, some goal line runs. And they got to figure out, they got to develop a formula. Even the starting of Malcolm Brown to start the game. That was, we're going to run. We're going to establish a run, pound it identity. And, I feel like they're trying to, force a circle into a square peg. And, it is what it is. This is, you are what your personnel says that you are. And right now, even though you've got a hulking big offensive line, you just don't have that girth and that power to smash it in.
Well, let's start on the left side. Austin Jackson, out of balance at times, reaching at times. He kind of did enough to get in the way in the passing game, but obviously he couldn't get any movement whatsoever in the running game. Had the hold also on Saturday. It was a poor performance by the kid, unfortunately.
It was, and I don't know if it's an indicative of where he is in his development. I would say that it's probably his worst performance in the NFL so far. And the question is, what can he learn from it? What can he grow from it? Let's not play like Robert Quinn is a slouch, because he's not.
No, he's a good player.
He's a good player. Austin Jackson even acknowledged that he threw things at him that he had never seen before.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to do when you face.
I don't think we got a healthy Robert Quinn. We got the one that was coming off of an injury, and then that year that he was here and then he was gone. It's the year after is when he got healthy and started to play really well again. That was kind of the
I'm not even sure. I don't think he was that focused down here, and that was one of the things that I picked up. Some guys come here to Miami and they kind of lose it. And
he was fresh off that. He was fresh off back surgery, remember? So that's where I got to give him.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't use that as an excuse, because all they kept doing was raving about how good he was. Turn and bend and twist and turn, how great he was going to be as a pass rusher. And then
surgery, bro.
But if you're sitting here twisting and bending and getting low and practicing like a beast, and then it gets to game time and you don't deliver, I'm not going to excuse it on back surgery.
No, I know, but
he don't get a pass from me, because I was
in
in that locker room and that guy was thinking about everything but football.
Okay, all right. You might be right on that.
Some guys come down here.
I know the Dolphins. Yeah.
They get lost in the life.
Yeah. That won't happen with this dude. That's the difference. Flo will read that BS right away and cut your ass and get rid of you, I think, when it's all said and done. By the way, I thought Solomon Kinley, actually, when I rewatched the game yesterday, I thought he did all right, actually. I thought he was the best lineman, actually, in the game, maybe.
No, Jesse Davis was. But anyway, nobody ever wants to give Jesse Davis any respect.
No, he did a solid job. I thought he did solid. And I thought Dieter was all right, too. But I thought Kinley actually played well. I thought I saw him move some people sometimes.
Dieter was on the ground a little bit too much for my personal taste. In terms of Solomon did what I think he's going to be there to do, which is Solomon's very hard to bull into the quarterback. So he's going to be good pass protection-wise. It's just the run game. I compare him to John Jerry. You're not going to get sacks on him, but he's not going to help you in the run game. And Dieter was okay. He was on the ground a little bit too much for my personal taste. I don't think they really have a center on this roster. We'll see. I mean, it was a very tough Bears defensive line. I'm not sure we can name 5 other defensive lines that were tougher than them. The question is, can they build on it? Because they're not going to see the Bears every single week. This week it's Atlanta. They don't have a forceful defensive line. Can we see them take a step forward against Atlanta, learn from the mistakes that they made against Chicago, and sort of grow and develop?
What'd you think of everybody else? Dieter, Hunt, and Jesse.
I thought Hunt did well. There are pictures of him on the ground, but I think he helped himself in the run game, which is really what they brought him there to do. Jesse, I thought he did well in the games before they pulled him. It's the pulling him, not the performance, that's really troublesome. And I know people don't get what I'm saying when I'm saying this, but if you got an offensive lineman on a pitch count, offensive linemen play roughly about 1,300 snaps a season. If you've got an offensive lineman on pitch count because of knee soreness and durability, and you don't want him to wear down, at some point you got to think that Jesse Davis is going to wear down, and which is where my concern for this line lies. And I know Dolphin fans, they're like, oh, it was only one exhibition game. Understand, I've been watching this for 3 weeks now. They've got absolutely no depth whatsoever. Adam Pankey's the best backup, and I'm not sure he would make another team's 53-man roster. So if you got Adam Pankey, Matt Skura, and Larnell Coleman as your top backups, and somebody gets hurt, because let's be real about this. We've watched the Dolphins.
If Panky's in there, I'm panicking.
Panky was all right. Panky's all right. I would, me personally, I would like, if Adam Lynchburg cannot come back this week, I would like to see Panky get a shot at left guard. That's me personally. I mean,
Adam Lynchburg is Eric Eichenberg, or is that
Liam Eichenberg? Liam Eichenberg. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
So
let's change his name all over the place. Go ahead.
So if I got this thing with Zach Sealer, I call him Ryan all the time. Ryan, and I have no idea who Ryan Sealer is.
That's all right. I say Sealer, Siler, so it's I get.
Oh yeah, it's so from the offensive line standpoint, I think they need to do, and I wrote a column about this in the Sun Sentinel. We've been down this road too many times. We've gone into seasons where we're on our 7th offensive lineman as a starter and have to use him for half the season. This is not going to do. It's just not. And if you don't do something now within but before August 31st or before the second game of the season, maybe wait until after contracts are guaranteed and bring in a veteran like Chicago brought in Jason Peters on Saturday. If you don't do something, a Russell Okung, a Mitchell Schwartz, if you don't do something, you're going to have an O-line disaster on your hands.
So they're allowing NFL players now to play with walkers? Because, I mean, Jason Peters is like 87 years old, bro.
Jason Peters is 30.
I know it's a titanium walker that he's going to need because he's a big-ass dude.
Hey.
But come on, bro. I mean, Jason Peters.
I thought it was a great signing for Chicago. Listen, Chicago's in just as much of desperate straits as Miami is. They are playing without their 2 starting tackles. They have to do something. If you want to sit here and you think that it's good enough right now, and we're going to invest in these young players and they're going to turn the corner and we're not going to have any injuries, I'm telling you, you're going to make a mistake. And then when we get to week 8 and the O-line's trash and it's changing the entire offense and Tua can't do anything but 3-step because he doesn't have time and they don't have any running game, don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say that. Okay, don't say
you're giving up already.
I don't know if I bought in to begin with. For giving up. Here's my thing.
It's not a matter of buying in yet, but it's not a matter of cashing out.
Oh, I'm not ready
out. I'm not ready.
I think that offensive line, as constructed, can be at its best average, and that's just not good enough for me. And I'm talking about full development. Full development.
How do you know that? They're too young to say something like that.
I don't see
you could have 3 Pro Bowlers on that team.
You should see signs. There's nothing you saw last year where it said signs. Austin Jackson probably is the one guy who showed you early in the season it wasn't too big for him. But he's not on the same level as a Laramie Tunsil. He's just an okay.
He wasn't drafted like Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie
Tunsil was supposed to be a top 5 pick that only fell because of a stupid mask. That's the only reason he fell, but he was one of those guys that you looked at as Penei Sewell. Mm-hmm. He was a franchise type. When you're taken at 17, you're not considered a franchise.
18. It doesn't matter.
12,
James
22. You're not a franchise tackle if you're there.
Let me put it to you where you can reach it. I don't even think he's Juwan James.
Oh, okay. Well, he actually played a whole year, so he's better than Juwan James already.
Juwan played his first 3 years. Be fair.
No, he didn't. He got injured all the time. Juwan James was a sack of injuries, bro.
Nah, he didn't get injured until I think his 4th year in the league.
Juwan James would get injured coming out of the car, bro, and in the facility. What are you talking about?
That was Laramie getting out the shower.
Juwan James is the Sam Bowie of the NFL. Come on.
He's not.
Too young. You know who Sam Bowie is? You know who Sam Bowie
I know who Sam Bowie is. They took him over Michael Jordan, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. He was
in center. And Austin Jackson.
He was great. He was Greg Oden before Greg Oden is what he was, without exposing his penis. Okay, one of those two things right there that made Greg Oden. Greg Oden was famous for that.
You got a
for
hell of a
failing
Rolodex.
as a pick, for failing as a pick, and for picking his penis out in the public, which is just crazy. All right, so let's move on to Noah Igbenogany. He made the one play, but then he had a couple of other shady plays. So, one of the things I was talking about is this is a kid that still has to learn this position. So really, that's another reason why they wanted X2 on this team, because they knew they had to buy this kid another year of development. What did you see from him? Because it looks like he has, when it comes to awareness of that position, boy, he's got to develop a lot of instincts, because it just seems like it doesn't come natural to him right now.
And it probably should come a little bit more natural because he's a receiver, so he should know receiver routes and breaks and passing routes and things of that nature. I'm not ready to give up on him. There's good, there's bad. We're in the Jamar Taylor territory of who he is as a player. He'll probably be in the league for 7 years, maybe a spot starter, but never be a guy that you can kind of rely on. That's where he is right now. But who knows? I like him. He's been in my man crush list of guys that I believe in. He's the only cornerback in all of college football that ever shut down Devin Smith or ever defended Devin Smith properly.
Devonta, by the way, he's not
Devonta Smith, yeah.
All right.
Devonta Smith. I'm not ready to give up on him, but let's be real about this. Nick Needham is better cornerback right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Definitely.
I mean, let's stop pretending. Let's stop elevating Noah because he's a first round pick.
At the same time, let's give Nick Needham some love too, because the kid
I'm a big Nick Needham love guy now.
You got to love it because he has worked his ass off to get to this point. When you love those undrafted, unheralded guys to just come out of nowhere and establish.
Nick Needham is one of my favorite guys. There's Jesse Davis and Nick Needham, and you know what they both have in common? Those are guys where they've been given absolutely nothing. They come into training camp buried every year. Nobody believes in him. We signed your replacement, and they just work their butts off, perform, and rise to the top. And I think Nick Needham's going to end up being a starter this year. I can tell you right now.
He's the nickel guy, right? Right now, he's
no. Justin Coleman's the nickel guy, and I don't think that's.
So you think he's the dime guy?
Yeah, Nick's a boundary. No, I don't even think Nick's the dime guy. Jason McCourty's the dime guy. Nick is.
So you got him as the third corner coming off.
Yes, he's the third cornerback. And listen, Nick's not going to complain. Nick's going to go out there and play, and Nick's going to go out there and make plays. But I will tell you this, and people get in their feelings and whatnot. There is no difference with how Nick Needham has performed and how Byron Jones has performed this training camp. And to be honest with you, there's no difference between how they performed in last year's training camp either. So I'm a believer that Nick can get the job done. Now, just don't ask him to cover speedy slot receivers.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. I like that, but I like him, man. He is really...
I love it. Superstar. I call every time he does something, because we make fun of Flores, because Flores gave us a lecture in 2019 about people don't understand.
I remember that. That.
About making Nick Needham had a won the game with a game-winning interception. He's solidified himself as a starter, and we're writing Nick Needham features, and here comes Brian Flores. Oh, y'all out here making him a superstar. Calm down. Making him feel like he's a superstar. Like, that man has earned the little respect that we have given him. And so anytime Nick Needham does anything positive, I always put out that Saturday Night Live superstar gif.
Yeah. He didn't start well, and then he really developed into a nice little player that first year, and he's grown from it. So you think Coleman is locked in now as
Absolutely.
The nickel guy? All right.
He brings a physicality to the position that they don't get with anybody else. So
where do they go dime right now at the depth chart?
Jason McCourty comes into the cornerback, and Javon Holland goes back there free safety. So that's where they are as a dime package. I like it. I think it's good. Nick's just that next guy up. Nick's and honestly, I haven't been here a season where they haven't had to use at least 5 cornerbacks to make it through a game. So
of course, yeah, you got to have.
So he'll play plenty.
Yeah. The best returners in the NFL, Jakeem Grant and Jalen Waddle, right?
Jakeem,
you knew that was. You knew it was
did a sensational job.
Like always. Like always.
Like always. Let's get this trade bait. Let's fifth round pick. Fifth round pick.
Do you know? I'll give you 2 words. Nicole Hardeman. That's what I'm going to give you. You have to, and I'm going to give you the other one, Tyreek Hill. You must take a page from Kansas City, young man. Okay? Jakeem Grant is Nicole Hardeman, who will be your full-time returner.
After your fifth-round pick, you're not taking it.
Occasionally, in a game that you need a touchdown late in the game, you're going to throw Jalen Waddle back there.
Okay.
No
so I'm going to replace my all-time famous, my all-time franchise leading.
I just told you Tyreek Hill and Nicole Hardeman.
Okay.
Nicole is the full-time guy, but Tyreek Hill is a full-time receiver like Jalen Waddle will be. So they can't put Tyreek Hill back there full-time because that would be stupid. Even though it would be great, it would also be stupid because you put him at risk.
Big O, answer me this question.
And he's coming off a foot injury.
Answer me this question, Big O.
Both.
Answer me this question, Big O.
Yes.
Houston offers you a fifth-round pick for Jakeem Grant.
No way.
No way?
Hell no, dude. You gotta give me a top 3 round pick for him. I'm not giving you one of the best returners in the NFL for a fifth rounder.
What's a give you a top 3 round pick for Devin Hester?
Omar, what's a fifth rounder, bro?
Grant.
You're not, so after drafting him in the 5th round, you're not gaining anything. After all this, you've developed one of the best 3 returners in the NFL, and you're just going to hand them away for a 5th rounder, Omar? No way, dude. That's crazy. They just prove why you need those 2 guys there. Because even if one gets injured, you have the other.
Okay. All right. They prove why they need him. He's phenomenal. Jakeem's going to get 100 punt return, kickoff return yards. He'll only drop about 20 passes this year.
He'll drop less because he'll play less. he'll throw him less. Okay.
Fine. As long as you don't want him in the offense, fine. Keep him.
Now, where my comparison goes to complete shit is that Nicole Hardeman's a much better receiver.
Yeah.
But
give me a 5th rounder. Give me your second team center. I'll be good to go. I'll be good to go. Come on down.
A backup center? No, dude. You got to give me. You got to give me a real. If I'm parting ways with Jakeem, you got to give me a real player, bro. You got to give me a real player or a higher pick. I'm not just handing you a guy that flips the field, man. I can't do that. I wouldn't do that.
I'm not arguing that the team doesn't flip the field. I'm not arguing it.
Well, you can't argue that.
Waddle flip the field.
You can't. You argue that, the Sun Sentinel should fire your ass if you argue that.
Jalen Waddle flip the field.
Yes.
All right. Then why do I need Jakeem Grant?
Jalen Waddle's coming off of foot surgery.
All right.
I'm not putting the burden of him to return everything and then be one of your frontline receivers. That's why I told you Tyreek Hill.
So we'll trade Jakeem at the trade deadline then.
They don't even do that with Tyreek Hill, dude. Deion Sanders, you want him returning every punt. But
Jakeem is one of your top commodities. They didn't get a piece that you need. Jakeem is one of your top pieces that you have dangling out there in your trade bait, like you always do about this time. Go get yourself an offensive lineman for Jakeem.
No dangling.
Well, he's being dangled. He's being dangled. Trust me, Jakeem's being dangled.
I think only you guys believe that he's being dangled. I think they say hell no because that gives you field position every single time. That guy's a game changer, bro. And then late in games, they score a touchdown. I'm putting Jalen on one side and Jakeem on the other on kickoffs. And I'm going to scare the crap out of your ass because whoever you kick it to, you're F, dude.
Hold on. You doing twin returners? Hold on. You doing twin returners?
Yeah, with those two late in the game, down by 7. Yes. That way you can't coffin kick and then try to control it. You got those 2 guys. I can do reverses. I can torture your ass with those 2 guys back there. I'm telling you, Miami has the two best returners in the NFL right now with Jalen Waddle coming to the mix. And that's why I said Hardeman and Hill, because you're going to use Jakeem all the time, but every once in a while, when you need a little extra juice, you can bring in Waddle and you can add that juice. But you can't, a kid coming off foot surgery, you can't put him full-time as a returner and full-time as a receiver. That would be dumb. You would risk injury again. And he's already limping. Yes.
Listen, whatever you want to do, all I'm saying is give me a 5th-round pick for Jakeem. Give me an offensive lineman.
More than that.
And I'm moving on.
Oh, man.
Create some cap space. Maybe I think about signing Mike Gesicki. See, look at you. I throw you a bone. Maybe I even think about signing Mike Gesicki.
Now you're with me on signing Gesicki now.
No. I'd rather let him play out the season and franchise him.
Okay, that's fine. But either way, I'm still signing him because I could keep him while Hunter develops. And then if Hunter develops, then I let him go and I sign Hunter and I draft another guy. And you just keep the cycle going overall. That's it. Defense, by the way, looked good, man. 2 first downs in the first half, and they got it late in that first half. And I know they weren't facing, world beaters at quarterback. I get it, but they weren't playing with their starting corners either. Overall, Ogba wasn't playing.
No, Ogba wasn't there. Starting corners.
Yeah, and Jalen Phillips also didn't play, which we want to see him. But I thought, got to give some love to the defense, right? I mean, they played well.
I don't have a problem. I thought they did well up until they kind of just pulled the rug from under the team. I thought Tua should have gotten one more drive. I would have loved to have seen the defense, start out the second half against Justin Fields. And it's exhibition season. I think that Flores created just enough adversity so that he can coach it. You know what I'm saying? Just enough like so negativity so that he could say, listen, we got things to fix, we got issues to address, we got to get better. And it's true, they got to get better. I mean, if we're talking about a playoff team, I didn't see a playoff team on that field against Chicago. And not, I'm not talking about the second half. And I know starters didn't play, but I obviously you want to see more weaponry. You want to see, the wide receivers get heavily involved. I know they held back because you didn't see any jet sweeps. You didn't see any dizzle dazzle with Waddle. So
that gonna show you anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen it, but yeah, they're not going to show it in the exhibition season. And you didn't see any RPO, so hey, props to them. I think they could play better. I would have loved for them to punch it in. I would have loved for them to and not throw that turnover in the red zone. I would have loved for them to play the second half a little bit better. They made Justin Fields look like he's about to be a Pro Bowl player, and I know that wasn't the first team defense, but trust me, he ain't that good. So. You got to worry a little bit about the depth. And
I'm with you.
The refs helped him out.
As I've mentioned before, I don't worry about things early because the dude has already shown me his track record is how his team starts is not how his team finishes. And so for 2 straight years, Flo's teams improve as the season goes on. There's a coaching staff that can make adjustments in the second half. I'm not worried about that. I think this is the worst you're going to see the Dolphins, and eventually that's been the track record the first 2 years that they do get better.
I would love that if that's the case. I would absolutely. All right. But I can tell you right now, they're not going to be 100% healthy throughout the season, and yeah, they're missing a lot of starters in that game, and they're missing a ridiculous amount of talent offensively. And Tua made it look good. So, hey, I'm props to him.
All right, let me run this by you because one of the things that, and I know that Joe Shad
for a 4th rounder. You gonna run that by me?
It's gonna be like a really bad.
Take a 4th rounder.
It's got to be a bad team, so I can end up with an early 4th rounder. And maybe I can.
All right, so I found your negotiating point.
Yeah. Don't give me the Tampa Bay 4th rounder, because then that's 32nd, and no. Give me a sorry ass team that's going to end up at the top picks, and I'll take Houston. I'll take their 4th rounder. That might be a whole different ball game. Now,
I'll give you the 5th. It's Houston. It was going to be like the bottom of the 4th. You turned me down.
Yes, I want top 3rd. I want bottom 3rd is what I want. I got to get greedy here. If I'm giving one of the best returners in the NFL, I need something, bro.
All right, fine. I'm not going to argue he's the best returner, one of the best returners in the NFL, the best returner in Dolphins history. I can't. You're right. I can't.
You can't.
He's also my biggest trade commodity.
He's and the smallest one too. All right, so listen. All right, here we go. All right, so I know that everybody's trying to decipher all this stuff, which it's pretty elementary, but I love the way they broke it down. And this is how they're calling plays. And clearly Godsey's calling the plays.
Did they really break it down?
Well, yeah, he did. For me, he did. He gave it away without even saying anything. But basically, Godsey calls the plays, and he tells Charlie Fry, and Charlie Fry forwards it to Tua. Makes a lot of sense. If they need to do something in the running game, then Studsville will tell Fry what it is. If Godsey makes the call, hey, we better run here, then Godsey makes the call, which runs, and Fry will then forward it to it. Now, this is what I love about how it gets funneled through Fry. Fry now is the guy that's in Tua's ear. Fry's the only guy out of the 3 that's played quarterback in the NFL that can see things that the other guys may not see, can tell Tua, hey, I noticed the safety is cheating more to the left of the box. You might have something here in the skinny post on the right side. If he was in the booth,
I would agree with you, but he's not in the booth.
Well, but it doesn't. But he's still going to be able to see. He's a quarterback, bro. He's going to see things that you and I don't see. What I'm saying is that if he's calling the plays, he's looking at the game, and he's going to be able to talk to his language. And so I love how, and of course, there's a connection between those two guys already as it is from years past. So I really like the way they actually came about this, because the guy that's talking to Tua played his position. So
I don't disagree with you, and it's a very interesting thought process that I like. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I do like the fact that a quarterback is talking to him. But name the situation where the head coach or the offensive play caller isn't the last guy in the ear of the quarterback throughout the whole NFL before the timer goes, before the communication system goes off.
Yeah, it's usually the offensive coordinator. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So now in this situation, and hey, it might change and revolutionize how people coach, and I don't think Flores is scared to do that.
Right.
But I mean, hey, let me take that back. Go ahead if you want to do something that's in another lane that nobody else is in. More power to you. I support it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna kill something without it actually being tried. Let's let them try. But at least the concept of it all, I think it was well thought. And I think that's what they're thinking, that the guy talking to Tua is the guy that knows Tua the best, probably, and the guy that played the damn position at this level. Whether he was great or not, that doesn't matter to me.
George Godsey was a good quarterback. I hate when people say that, because he followed Joe Hamilton and he kept Georgia Tech at a high level of success. And I know this because I was a Georgia Tech fan back then, in those days.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I remember him as a player, and I was like, "Look at you, little man! You following Joe Hamilton, and you holding it up." I mess with him about it all the time.
Right.
They didn't drop off after they lost Joe, because people don't remember Joe Hamilton was like,
he's a good player.
He was that dude before.
He was
we allowed athletic quarterbacks to thrive.
I remember Joe Hamilton. Definitely. I remember him. But again, Fry played in the NFL. So I'm just saying. So it's just the thinking, if that's what it is,
hey,
I kind of like it. I really do. I like it.
What I don't like, and I think this is where most of my peers are, is I don't like the cloak of secrecy, the cloak of misinformation that we just constantly get bombarded with from Flores. And I get it. There's no benefit to telling us things. Right. But you ain't got to lie, Craig. Hunter Long ain't day to day. You ain't got to lie.
I know.
Liam Meikenberg ain't day to day. You ain't got to lie, Craig.
I think it was Poupar that goes, how is he injured, or is it one of those day-to-day things?
Yeah. It's like I'm so sick of being lied to. Like, and it's kind of, it's not like he treats us like Belichick, where he just doesn't say anything or he grumbles or grunts.
Right.
It's just like, come on, man, stop. Just answer a goddamn question. Stop lying.
But he kills you with kindness in a way, because he does it in a polite way, because he's like, he's that dude.
We can watch somebody get amputated. He'd be like, yeah, he's day to day. I'm like, come on, man, stop lying, Craig.
But he's you know what? He's got that magic, because he's a likable dude. Unlike, let's say, Belichick, who's just dry and boring, and you're like, like they're like Flo will lie to you, but then he'll smile at you, and he'll just
that makes it better, right? Lie to my face and smile. Give me just a big old cheesy grin, like I'm lying.
It could be 6 people calling the plays
tomorrow it'll be the offensive line coach calling the plays, the final guy in the headset. Like, come on, man, just give us something. Like, just be and I really, it makes me miss Gase, because Gase would do things where he wouldn't tell us the truth in the press conference. Then he'd tell us the truth, off the record. So we at least have institutional knowledge, Gase, I love the Gase off the record pressers. Those were phenomenal. But then you realize why he throws so many guys under the bus. You'd realize why the team quit on him. And I get it. Flores is not Gase. He's never ever going to be Gase. Nothing even close to it. But I mean, I think Joe Shad said it the best. Sometimes we're looking for just a story and anecdote that can just help us with something, and he can't even give that. Like,
right. Yeah, he doesn't have the magic of Jimmy and Riley, that they understood, the media's job, so they left some meat on the bone. You know what I mean? Even though they were hard asses in their own way.
You know what I love? Give me a sleight of hand. You want me to focus on something? Use me. Come on, use me. Let's
I got you.
Just give me a sleight of hand. Tell me these linebackers gotta get better.
Riley was the best at that. Riley, there is nobody even close to Riley that I've covered that did that.
I remember
because it was a way of not saying things, but then left you something also at the same time.
I remember when Riley gave me the lecture telling me that I have the disease of me. And I think it's about me. And, that's horrible for, like, man. And he'd always tell me, have you read The Winner Within? It's probably sitting right over there. He told me, have you read The Winner Within? So many goddamn times. I said, God damn it, let me go read this goddamn book. And I finally did read the book, and I'm like, it's a good goddamn book.
Yeah, it is. It is. He's good, man. He's good. You expecting anybody from the injuries to return this week? I know it's really a tough question for you to answer.
Lies to me.
Right, yeah, I know it's hard to answer.
I think Devontae will do an on and off practice.
Okay.
He's rested for a week. He'll practice one day, off the next day. I think Jalen Phillips is probably going to do the same thing, unless he regressed in Chicago, which we can't get an answer to. He'll practice one day, won't practice the next day, might play in the exhibition game. So I don't know where Brandon Jones is with his ankle injury. You'll get sort of more glimpses of that when we go out there for practice.
I like him, man. I want to see him back on the field. I like
Brandon Jones.
Yes, I do. I like him. I think he can grow into a nice little player. We'll see. Time will tell.
Maybe when he grows up. Yeah.
Yeah. Time will tell. But I like his skill set. I think he's got it. So you expect this to be the dress rehearsal game?
I actually don't.
Okay.
I think that they will. Huh?
because they have the 2 weeks after the third game?
Absolutely. I think that's how. Now, it would be nice if he'd just tell us that, but he won't tell us nothing.
So let me ask you, I was thinking about that when he didn't tell you that. There's a part of me that says if they play well and they don't have and they have some injuries, then 3 is going to be all the backups. But if they don't play well and they're pretty healthy, then 3 he'll say, well, we need more work. So maybe there's a theater.
I think depth-wise, I think they need everybody to work. And understand, keep in mind, this is, and it's hard for me to explain this to fans, but this is a package-based team. Probably outside of maybe the offensive line and 5 other players, everybody plays in a package. When your package is called, you go in the game.
Right.
Christian Wilkins, he is a package player. If his package isn't called on the first down, he doesn't start. If his package isn't used in that game because this opponent is playing that package, it doesn't play to your benefit, he doesn't play. Same thing with Jerome Baker, package-based guy. There was a stretch last year in the middle of the season where Jerome didn't even play for 2 weeks. Kept hammering him like, why isn't he playing? Well, it's the package. So I think that they're going to continue they got to practice going in for their package, going in and coming out for their package. So I think that they'll continue to do that and get used to it, because it's not like, regular substitutions where it's like, okay, this line goes in now. Okay, that line comes in now. Just like Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones is in a very specific package. And, and I think they'll play that package all throughout the exhibition season.
And if they don't use your package, that's what she said. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch him here twice a week, baby, Mondays and Fridays.
So we're in agreement, a 4th rounder from Houston, right? 4th rounder from Houston.
A Spicoli 4th rounder. A very high 4th rounder.
I mean, Houston's going to be high.
High. Well, usually they are. Look at the deals they make. So, they're high as hell when it's all said and done. But, if you give me a top 5 pick in the 4th round, I can see something like that. But in the end, you can't trade the guy that is going to return a touchdown in the first round of the playoffs this year.
We shall see.
Doesn't make any sense.
We shall
Doesn't make any sense. Jakeem Grant's going to open up the playoffs with a touchdown. So it's going to end up happening. Kickoff, boom, Jakeem, touchdown. Dolphins up 7-0 in the first round of the playoffs. It's a beautiful thing, bro. This is going to happen. Mark it down right there. That's it. Etched in stone. Don't forget, you can this will be podcasted after the show, so you can listen to it again if you missed any of it. And we appreciate it. And of course, visit Eric and the great people at EJD Construction. Go to the website, ejdconstruction.com. Call them 305-433-4843. Omar, as always, you're a stud, my brother. I will see you on Friday.
All right. Talk to you later.
You got it.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Omar Kelly. For additions, home remodeling, or custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is the custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
All right, we thank Omar Kelly for joining us here on the program. We appreciate it. Big Drip Entertainment says, Grant going to New Orleans. Yeah. All right. I don't know how you guys just want to get rid of you guys, some of you guys and Omar. You're just dying to get rid of Grant, who is an ultimate difference maker on special teams. It's the weirdest thing in the world. You have one of the 3 best returners in the NFL, and you just want to get rid of him. It's crazy. Super V says, wow, Big O, you are correct. Brandon Jones is an ascending player, and Omar doesn't even acknowledge it. This guy is still stuck in the past when evaluating Dolphin players. Well, I don't know about stuck in the past, but we can disagree, right? That's kind of what sports is all about. You're going to agree on some things, you're going to disagree on others, and you're going to go back and forth. I like Brandon Jones. I know he's young. I get it, but I kind of like the kid. I think he's got a skill set that can translate to this league in a big-time way. But we'll see if he can grow into the position. Let's see. Hank Goldberg's left nut says, I know we are talking Finns here, but by the way, I thought Justin Fields looked good for a first preseason game. His opposition will get much tougher, but he should get better too. I'm a Justin Fields guy. He did a nice job, man. Did a nice job. I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him. Omar laughing, saying they ain't going to the playoffs. Well, that's fine. I think they're going to the playoffs. I think they're going to win. But that's the beauty of sports, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to always agree. We can disagree, have some fun. That's all it is. Nothing wrong with that. What else do we have here? I saw the whole Penei Sewell thing. And one of the things that I thought about with Penei is if he would have been drafted here and he gives up that sack, especially to Rousseau, people would have lost their minds here. Yeah, they would have said, "Oh no, this is a terrible pick. I can't believe Chris Greer picked this guy. Look, he gave up a sack to Gregory Rousseau." And by the way, why did the Dolphins not draft Rousseau? He's healthy and playing. Look at Phillips. He's already injured. Right? That's that negative Dolph fan, the one that was slamming Tua and now can't slam Tua anymore, but now is slamming the O-line, would have been slamming Penei Sewell. Would have been slamming that pick. It's funny because, okay, we got to have the Penei Sewell kid, right? But then you also needed Waddle. So if Waddle becomes a player, you can't have it both ways, man. You need an impactful receiver. It's not like Will Fuller is here to be here for long term. He's only on a 1-year deal. Maybe if he could figure out his body this year, and maybe you sign him to a long-term deal if he plays a healthy season, because obviously he's not playing in week 1 because of the suspension. But after that, he's eligible to play the rest of the year. He better play all those games. But again, he's not the guy you're looking at long-term. Neither is Devontae Parker. So you need a receiver, and here's Jalen Waddle to be that guy. You can't have Waddle and Penei, right? But that's the thing, that let's find something new to complain about, and Penei Sewell would have been that guy that people would have been complaining about. So now it's, Noah, let's complain about Noah, and of course the kid hasn't gotten it yet. Austin Jackson, who didn't have a terrible year last year. He wasn't great, but then this year, obviously, first preseason game doesn't start off well, and then all hell breaks loose for the poor kid. But the Penei Sewell thing would have been freaking hilarious, because I know I would have been taking the chat board, and people would have been slamming them and crazy stuff. Man of 1,005 holds. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you with a little super chat. He says, great segment from the 2 O's. Omar, LOL. Sign Omar, LOL. Thank you. Thank you, man of 1,005 holds. It's always good to have Omar on. And for those of you that maybe are new to the show, we're on every day at 10 a.m., except Wednesdays. Wednesdays we come on at 9:30, because from 10 to 11 we have Inside the Paint with Ira Winderman and Clay Ferraro. And for those of you that don't know, Omar is exclusive to our show. You won't hear him on any station locally here in South Florida. He's on Mondays and Fridays. Alan Pupar, also Dolphins reporter for Sports Illustrated, joins us on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Okay. Ira Winderman joins us Tuesdays and Fridays, talking Heat basketball. So these are all of our insiders that join us every single week, and we will add more also to the program. Guys, you will only, or ladies, that you will only be able to hear here on our show. 50 Cal says, where should I watch the Dolphins-Falcons game? Well, my brother, that should be on Channel 4. I would imagine it's on CBS. That's where the preseason games are. If not, then you got to hope that the NFL Network is carrying it. If you're out of town, I don't know what other way I would tell you to watch it. I don't know, maybe there's some of those links. Maybe people can share, those links. 50 Cal, send us your Twitter handle, and I'll tell the folks out there, and maybe somebody knows one of those websites that has the links that you can go see the game. Okay. Robert Wilcox says, I keep saying I need Nick to keep playing the way he's been playing. I need him to do that. Nice use of word with that. Yep. Well, I remember the first couple weeks preseason and the regular season for Nick that they were ugly in his first year. And I said, we don't need to see him anymore. So that was the other way we were using it. And then the kid turned the corner and he's played really well. I like Nick Needham, man. I got to give him a lot of respect, man. He has really played well and turned the corner as a player for this team. He's been impressive. I do have to admit that. What else do I want to talk about a little bit? Salvon Ahmed, starting everything with Brown. Then Ahmed comes in and plays really well. And Ahmed kind of reminds you that, hey, last year I made an impact when I signed with this team. And I know that they want to use Brown, but I started looking at this kid and it's like, okay, the Gaskins-Ahmed combination is one that just really works, man, overall. And I like Gaskin a lot. I like what he did last year. I'm impressed with his instincts. I love Gaskin's balance too, that considering he's not a big back, he has great balance, man. And he can bounce off tackles. He can sometimes stay on his feet when people are going low on him. I really like everything. And Miles also is a really good runner. Pass catcher also. So there's a lot of things. And Salvon Ahmed has shown you to be shifty, be a tough runner too, and also a terrific pass catcher. Ahmed has been one of those cats that, I gotta say, I like what I see from the kid, and it looks like that 1-2 punch with Gaskin and Ahmed is the combination right now. I think that would be your number one combination overall. And I know that they want to get Brown in the mix, but it's hard to deny what Ahmed is doing for the Dolphins and how he has looked ever since he signed on with this team. That's the thing about Salvon Ahmed, is that from the moment he signed on, the kid has been a player. And I know a lot of people were expecting Brown, Malcolm Brown, to be the guy that kind of maybe takes over that spot. I think Ahmed made a case for himself. Now, I'm going to give all of you some homework, okay? And I want you to trip out with this homework because it was kind of funny in a way. I want you to look at the second return from Jakeem Grant. And Jakeem Grant, he gets up and he's first looking at the Chicago sidelines, and then he turns and he's all pumped and jacked about his run, and he's walking to the sidelines and guys are congratulating him. I want you to look at Jalen Waddle and look at his face. Like Jalen's like smiling to kind of, a congratulatory type of smile a little bit, but it's kind of a smile and a smirk of, okay, all right. All right, I can better that. Okay, it's on, that kind of stuff. So that's the other thing that I think Flo has been able to do. He's going to create competition within those two guys. Because, again, I don't believe that you use Jalen Waddle as a full-time returner when he's coming off a foot injury and he's going to be your full-time slot guy. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. That's why I told, Omar earlier in the show, I said Nicole Hardeman and Tyreek Hill. And that's the way it's got to be, where Jakeem Grant is your main returner, like Hardeman is, and occasionally they will use Tyreek Hill there. Deion Sanders was the same way. Deion Sanders was not a full-time returner throughout his career. He was more of a returner at the beginning of his career, but after a couple of years, they stopped using him full-time. Why? Because he's your full-time starter at corner. You just can't put that kind of wear and tear and serve them up out there constantly on special teams to all these madmen that are playing special teams. And that's the one thing you don't want with Jalen Waddle, because Jalen Waddle's killing you. He's got 150 yards in 4 catches, and he's got 2 touchdowns. And now you put him back there to return. And guess what? There's some guy on the return team that's going, take this sumbitch out. He's killing us on offense. No, not doing that. So for me, that's what I saw. See, some of you are thinking like Omar. You're thinking, oh, well, now we've got more material to trade him. Oh, he had 2 terrific returns in this game. We can showcase him even more. That's the dumbest thing you can do. You don't trade away when you got the best 1-2 punch-in returners in the NFL. You don't trade that away. You scare the shit out of teams every week having to prepare for those 2 guys. Because that's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. Even if Jalen Waddle doesn't play, you better prepare for his ass. Because Flo might use him once a half. Or Flo might just use him in the 4th quarter. Or Flo might say, you know what? I want dual threats on the kickoffs. I don't want them to corner kick us. I want them that they're going to have to deal with a blazer one way or another. I don't think people realize that you want your offense to succeed. Well, how about having a couple returners that are going to avoid being inside the 20? How about 2 returners that will guarantee you pretty much that you'll be past the 30 a lot of times, right? I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to live with those guys there. I'm going to ride with those 2 guys. And Jakeem's problem, with the drops has not been as a returner. It's always been as a wide receiver. That to me, while others were looking at a way out, I'm getting excited about having the best pair of returners in the NFL. What a freaking weapon for the Miami Dolphins to have those 2 guys. And here's the other thing, ladies and gentlemen. What if one of them gets dinged up? You still have the other one. So your special teams stay potent. So let's say Jakeem Grant's been returning for you and doing a great job. Week 10, he comes up with a bum ankle. Twisted it up in practice on Wednesday. So he can't play that week. So that week you use Waddle as a returner and your receiver. Jakeem's back the following week. You keep going. Boom. You're fine. You're covered. Makes a lot of sense. There are so many positives to all of it. How do you not do it that way? The Bus Stop Media Entertainment. You are new. Thank you, sir, for chiming in on a little super chat. He says, who will be available after the final cuts? We'll need depth on the O-line. Well, I can't answer that, my brother. And I can't tell you who on other teams are going to be cutting offensive linemen. And here's the other thing that I'm going to say. Can we wait a little bit? Maybe things develop. Maybe the offensive line's fine, and maybe some of the depth actually starts to play better over the next couple of weeks. I'm not ready to panic. I'm not ready to throw the baby with the bathwater out. I'm not ready to do that, bro. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to give up on these guys after one game. And I got to tell you, I don't think Solomon Kinley played bad. I thought he did all right. I thought Hunt did pretty decent. I thought Dieter was all right. He wasn't terrible. Omar is right. There were a couple times that he was on the floor, but it looked to me like he was addressing most of his assignments, in the game. Did Jackson struggle? Yeah, Jackson struggled. And the line, the early part of the line, they did enough in the pass game. That's the one thing that, while they weren't beautiful and it wasn't, perfect or anything like that, they gave Tua more than enough time to pass the ball. Let's be honest now. So it wasn't something like, oh man, Tua, is struggling. He can't see the receivers. He's No, he doesn't have time. No, he had time to do what he needed back there. They just couldn't run the ball. That's their next step and to me, that's where Solomon Kinley struggles, is his hands technique. All right. That's where he has problems locking guys in. That was a beauty when I used to watch Mark Dixon. Mark Dixon would lock your ass in and then guide you right out of the play. He'd use your momentum. He didn't even have, but he knew how to use leverage. And if a player was overcommitting, he'd use that weight and that push to then get him out of the play one way or the other, depending on which way the guy was trying to go. And for Kinley, that to me, he is so strong and so big and so wide that he's been so used to mauling people at the college and at the high school level. In the NFL, you just don't get to maul guys. These guys are way too smart. They're going to cut your hands off. They're going to try to get around you. They're going to use their quickness. They're going to use speed. They're going to use stunts. They're going to use all kinds of different things to shake you off, because obviously they feel like, all right, if this guy puts his hands on me, he's going to definitely slow me down or lock me up. And I think Kinley has a problem still with his hand technique, that it's still not clean. And let me tell you, this sometimes for some linemen, it takes them a couple years to kind of figure out that hand battle that goes on. That hand battle especially goes on in the interior part of the line. That might be one of the most important things that you do in that interior, is how you use your hands, how you're able to keep somebody at a distance to give you space to try to make plays. And remember, inside, when you're playing guard and center and you're playing D tackle and all that, there isn't a lot of space. You're kind of playing, as they say, in a phone booth, that kind of stuff. So it becomes that much more of a challenge to kind of get your spacing and use your hands. And to me, that's been Solomon Kinley's biggest problem, is his hands on the line of scrimmage. So we'll see if he's able to kind of get it done. All right, let's take a quick break. It's the top of the hour. When we come back, Michelle Kaufman is going to join us. We're going to talk a little Inter Miami. They ended up losing 2-0. We talk a little Inter Miami with Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All righty, we are back. We are awaiting Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald so we can talk a little Inter Miami football. We'll get back to a little Dolphins talk right after. So hang in there. I know some of you aren't big soccer fans, but we want to we talk every sport here on this show. So we give love to everything. We'll get back to some of the other stuff, but we're going to talk a little Inter Miami football with the one and only Michelle Kaufman. Good afternoon, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? I just got back from vacation. I actually was not at the last game because last two games. We were out in Sun Valley, Idaho, hiking and biking and enjoying a beautiful, beautiful part of the country with mountains, blue sky, like cobalt blue, and no humidity whatsoever.
It's no humidity is actually a really good thing. I like that, man. Is Idaho having the same issues with dryness and water and shortage and all that like the West Coast? Because I know
they are. They've had a lot of smoke. They haven't had fires themselves, but a lot of the smoke from the West Coast from the fires they've had have come over. Luckily, I don't know if I think it's just because we were there, because we have friends who live there, and they said that for 6 weeks the sky was kind of hazy and not as blue as usual. And then I'm not even kidding. The minute we got there, it turned bright blue, and it was blue the whole time we were there. So I don't know. I think it was our magic aura, but yeah, it's very dry there. I mean, it's extremely dry. They don't, they go months and months without any rain at all. So it's a very different climate. It's really cold at night. It drops to the 50s. When you wake up in the morning, it's like 55, and then it goes up to 85. Every day there's a 30-degree swing between when you wake up and midday. So it's wonderful. We really love it out there.
Yeah, it's crazy shit what's going on with the Colorado River and Lake Mead and all the other. There's a couple of other lakes that they're so low now.
Oh, yeah, the rivers. I mean, where we were in Idaho, the rivers were extremely low. Like there's places we took our grandkids. There's places where you normally they're like wild, raging rivers, where they do whitewater rafting and everything. And those rivers are like, you can see all the rocks on the bottom. We could walk across.
They became creeks now.
Yeah, on some of the trails that we hiked that you normally can't cross the water. You could cross the water, like just walk straight across. There was like no water, just like a little tiny trickle of water. So yeah, they're definitely suffering from the same thing. A lot of dryness out there, but
yeah, it's scary how bad it is out west, man. Right now, how dry it is overall. Speaking of dry, the offense.
Speaking of dry, I was going to make that joke, and you did it for me. Yes. Speaking of a drought,
yeah.
Speaking of dry, this team. They went 4 games unbeaten, which was really great, and NYCFC is, one of the top teams in the league. I mean, they've beaten other teams 5-0. They think they beat Orlando 5-0. They beat Columbus or Chicago or somebody 4-0. So it's a team that scores goals. They've outscored. I think I read that they had outscored in their previous whatever games. They had outscored their opponents 15-2. So that is not unusual that you would lose 2-0 to that team. That team is very good, and that team has beaten a lot of teams by 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. That's kind of a normal scoreline with NYCFC. But just looking at Miami, I mean, I had to watch it on stream or whatever, but, it's the same thing. They dominated play for the first 20, 25 minutes. They moved the ball well. They had a couple chances. Lewis Morgan had a chance. It was very close. Gonzalo Higuain. But at the end of the day, they got to halftime without any goals, and they were down 2-0. 2 defensive mistakes. They're down 2-0, and then in the second half, didn't score again. So no matter what New York did, Miami did not score. And, they're not going to win. If you don't score any goals, you're definitely not going to win the game. That we know for sure. So, it just seems like what Phil said after was that this team, what bothered him the most about the game was that when they faced some adversity, instead of sticking with the plan and sticking with the short passes and, whatever, certain guys tried to do too much individually because they were so desperate, I guess, to score and to move the ball forward that a guy would dribble the ball 3, 4, 5 times and then that slows down the pace of the game. And then, New York has an easier time to defend that than when they were doing short passes and trying to move the ball with possession. So he was disappointed that they reverted to some of those individualistic ways. When times get tough, each guy maybe wants to be the hero and take the ball and bring it up the field. And that's really not the most efficient way to get across the field. That was his take anyway.
Yeah, and to me, and I hate to kind of put this in a negative light, but while it was fun, the 4-game unbeaten streak, it was a gritty team that the ball was bouncing their way. They weren't. It wasn't like they were dominant or anything like that during that stretch. It was great for them to pick up points in 4 straight games, but it was one of those where you kind of did enough to kind of get by, and then in this game, it kind of caught up to them. And I listen, at least right now they've got a couple of games coming up in Chicago and in Toronto that are winnable games. So it'll be interesting to see, because they've played some pretty damn good teams as of late. It'll be interesting to see how they can handle this and if they can come up with some wins, because these are kind of winnable games that are coming up right now. But I see a gritty team. I see a gritty team that has to try to play a perfect game, which perfect by them doesn't mean that they look great. It's just perfect that they try to avoid as many mistakes as possible and just to kind of get by in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the last 5 games, by the way, were against the top 5 teams in the conference. So they played New England, NYC, Nashville, Orlando, and Philly. Those are literally the top 5 teams in the league, are the 5 teams they just played. And they only lost 1 out of those 5. So if you're going to look at glass full, which some people say I'm like too optimistic. I'm always rosy colored glasses, whatever. But the truth is, the last 5 games, they lost 1 of the 5 against the top 5 teams in the conference. Now they're going to face Chicago, which is right ahead of them with 20 points. And they have, 16 points. So they're number 10. Miami's number 12. And then they play Toronto, which is down on the bottom. So they've got the last place team and they've got the 10th place team in their next 2 games, both at home. So, yeah, I mean, if they were to come and win these 2 games, they get 6 points. They move up to 22 points, which moves them up, to the 9-10 position as opposed to under number 10. And then, anything is still possible. We're at the halfway point now. It seems like this season's gone on forever, but the truth is there are 34 games and they've played 17, and they have 1 in hand because that 1 game was suspended or postponed with the weather, the game against New York that's going to be played in October. So they have 1 game in hand. Most of the teams have played 18, 19, and even 20 games. New England has played 20. Inter Miami has played 17. So they have 1 game in hand. They have 2 of the below 10 teams coming up in the next 2 games at home. So if they were to win those 2, they would get to 22 points. They'd be in the mix with 1 game in hand. And, there's plenty of season left. It's just they have to find a way to correct. I mean, in this case, from what I could tell, Kelvin Leardom made a mistake on defense, let his guy go by, and then he was also the guy.
And the handball.
And he was the one who had the handball. So this, 1 player had a forgettable night, and and it cost the team. That's 2 goals. I mean, when you're playing a team that's the number 2 team in the conference, they're going to take advantage of those mistakes, So you can't make those kind of mistakes in the box or right in the scoring position. They're going to take advantage and score. So they made 2 mistakes.
By the way, he has way too much experience to pull that crap he pulled in the box. I mean, come on, dude. That was a total panic move.
Yeah, right, that was kind of inexplicable. That was one of those, did you think that was a brain fart moment?
Yeah, come on, man. That was so obvious. There was no way you were going to get away with that.
Yeah. No, that was bad. And then, if it had been 1-0 going into halftime, maybe, I don't know. But even so, they still didn't score no matter what. Even if it was 1-0 at halftime, Miami still did not find a way to find the back of the net in the second half either. So, I think Pizarro, again, he's not as much of a distributor. He's more, he had some good plays, but he also tends to just be more of a dribbler, and that's not really what they need. They really need someone who can distribute the ball, get the ball to Gonzalo Higuain, get the ball. Now, one thing that I think will help, I believe,
wait a minute.
Robbie Robinson.
Wait. Before you get to Robbie, let me finish on Pizarro. Why do they keep playing him? He doesn't fit. He doesn't make plays. Are they just trying to showcase his ass so they can try to trade him? Is that what's going on, Michelle? Because no matter what coach tries, this guy chemistry-wise just does not fit. When you see Federico play, when you see Morgan play, these guys know how to get others involved. They're really good at it. This guy, it's like you just said, he holds on to the ball too long. He makes decisions late. It just never works out with Pizarro, and it just seems like we're forcing the square peg in the round hole every single damn time. Why not just bench his ass already and move on?
Right. Well, he did bench him. I mean, he didn't play much over a stretch of 5 games, honestly, And then when he was gone, to be honest, when he was gone with the Mexican team, that is when the team had that unbeaten streak. He was not really part of the unbeaten streak. But he came back. He's a DP. They're paying him a lot of money. And, I guess they're giving him a chance because they're paying him all that money. And he's one of the DPs, and they did bench him already for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me if he plays less coming forward, and play Federico more, in that position, because they really do need someone who can get the ball to the front. And when they lose the ball in the middle there, the other guys, up front are left hanging. One thing I was going to say is that I think Robbie Robinson is going to return for Wednesday's game. So that's what I'm hearing. So if that's the case, I like when he plays. I think he's a really big target. He draws defenders. He opens up other players, just his presence alone. And, and the guy shoots. He takes shots, and he's big and he's fast. His problem has really been these injuries that he plays 2 games and then he's out 3 games. He plays 2 games and then he's out 4 games. He has not really been a consistent contributor, but when he is in there, he does make a difference. I think the team is better when he's there.
Oh, hell yeah. He's the only one that can break people down. Like, Higuain can't do that. Higuain needs to be set up in order to take a shot, whereas Robbie can take it from half from midfield and drive it all the way down into the box and score if he wants to, and he'll break 2-3 guys down. I love his talent. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
The problem with Robbie has been just durability. That's been his only problem. But I'm with you. When he's in there, Michelle, their offense is way better. It's also better for Higuain because it takes pressure off of him. Plus, Robbie's actually a pretty decent passer too. So if he can find Higuain too.
Yeah, I think they can play well together. They can do well together. And he also, I remember the last time he played well. He said that he and Kieran Gibbs had developed a good chemistry on the left side there. So I think when he's in there, the defenders have to pay attention to him. You can't ignore him. So if they're paying attention, someone is paying attention to him, that's one less person that's paying attention to Gonzalo Higuain, which allows him to move around in the box more. And apparently, he was saying that he really enjoys playing with Kieran Gibbs, that they had a lot of give and goes down the left sideline. So, I think that with him coming back, it'll help the attack, which is really what's been the biggest issue. Although in this last game, losing 2-0, both of them were on defensive mistakes. So both sides were to blame. The offense didn't score. The defense made 2 mistakes. And there you have a 2-0 game. But, like we both said, they've just played the top 5 teams. They only lost 1 of those. Now they're playing 2 teams that are ranked 10 and below. So, if they are good enough to beat or tie the top teams, they should definitely be good enough to beat the lower teams. So now we'll see if they can up here get fired up and they're going to be at home. They're going to have the home crowd 2 games in a row. If they could pick up 6 points over the next 2 games.
By the way, the home crowd that's getting smaller and smaller as the season goes on. I'm just,
Right. Well, no, it's been a steady 14, I think, right? The last few games has been
the number they give you is different than the number the people I see in the stands.
Okay.
All
right.
I'm seeing a lot more empty seats. So let's see if the boys can pick up a couple wins this week, or at least one out of the two. Now the key will be to keep Bad Luck Schleprock off the field, which is Pizarro. And all we need is for him to go, oh, wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo, and that's all we need from Pizarro. So let's hope so. Michelle, thank you as always. Follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. Catch her work there at the Miami Herald. And let's see if Inter can pick up some points this week. Thank you as always.
All right. Thanks. Take care. Have a good week.
You got it. You be good. Thank you.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
The great Michelle Kaufman joining us here on the program. Yes, I did call him Bad Luck Schleprock Pizarro. That's what he is. He's Bad Luck Schleprock. I'm telling you. It's what he is. Bad Luck Schleprock. It's what I see from the guy. Terrible. Oh, you are slowly turning me into a Miami CF fan. And they suck, too, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We're turning you over to an inner Miami. I mean, listen, if you live in South Florida or if you live in other parts of the world, but you root for the Dolphins and the Heat and all, well, of course, you should root for Inter Miami. You should root for the Marlins. You should root for our Panthers. You know, some of our other teams, I know they don't get the love that the Canes, the Dolphins, and the Heat get. But, you know, I want you to come over to my side of the world where we are pure South Florida, and we root for Inter, and we root for the Panthers, and we root obviously for the Marlins. And they swept the Cubs this weekend. How about that? That was cool. Aguilar hit a home run yesterday, number 22. Jazz Chisholm hit number 12 last night. Love it, man. That was good. Lewis Brinson is at 282 for the year. It's pretty awesome. Hernandez, the Venezuelan kid, actually had a nice outing yesterday. 1 earned run and 5 1/3. So, you know, it was fun. They've won 4 in a row now, the Marlins, after sweeping the Cubs. So tonight they start against the Braves. Let's see if they can pick up a win. But like I told you guys, listen, obviously the Dolphins are going to dominate here. We're going to talk a ton of Manny Navarro joins us every week. Tomorrow he'll be here Tuesdays and Fridays as one of our insiders. For those of you that don't, that maybe are new to the show, obviously. So we're going to talk about everything. But yeah, we got to give Inter Miami a little love. And listen, I was impressed with that 4-game unbeaten streak because they're not that good. And they were gritty enough to find ways to win those games against some pretty tough competition or tie, which was pretty good for them. I just hope their luck hasn't run out here. And now they've got 2 very winnable games, and they end up losing them. That would not be good, ladies and gentlemen. So we thank Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald for joining us. She is absolutely awesome. Pipe Man Slim says, I'm excited for the Miami Dolphins like I'm excited for Cardano. Let's go. Yeah, baby. Cardano got over 220, right? Where's it at right now? It's at 215 now. It went down a little bit, but man, it's nice to see Cardano start soaring, man. That is absolutely fantastic. Shiba making a little bit of a move. It's up 12% right now. Shiba. 12% increase for Shiba. I love it. I love it. What else do we have here? Ethereum right now is at 32.47. Bitcoin, if you're following, is at 46,637. It hit 48 last night. So it corrected a little bit here, but that's kind of part of the game. Polygon's at 153. Those of us that are invested in Matic and Chili's, I've been telling you about Chili's for a while. They're up to 37 cents. I got it in the low 20s. It's a beautiful thing. So some stuff moving in the crypto market. There's been like a little bit of a correction, you know, but not too much. Just a little bit of a correction. It'll end up coming back. Finsanity5 says Colin Cowherd just gave us praise. Wow. Do you really need praise from Colin Cowherd? Is that important, Finsanity? Seriously? Is your life that of a void that you need some kind of praise from Colin Cowherd? One of the most unprepared hosts I have ever heard on radio. A guy that clearly lives off his producers, doesn't really watch sports, comes up with lame-ass analogies. That makes you feel good? I mean, it's really nice to have a national platform, bro. It's really nice because you actually fool people into actually, they think you know something. Wow. I mean, really, seriously. In fact, I think I'd be more nervous that he gave you praise for as little as he knows. JLTT says the media is ridiculous. They are blowing Justin Fields up like he's the best quarterback in the world. He played against 2s and 3s. But that's how it is, my man. People blow up the silly stuff, and then they overreact on other things, right? They can't slam Tua that much anymore, right? Because the kid had a really good outing overall. I know he threw the one interception, but overall, whoever watched that game had to say that kid was accurate, decisive, getting it done. But then they'll find something else to bitch about, my man. That's just the way it is. And if not, they'll overreact about something else. Big O, thank you for doing sports talk. Nobody in Miami serves it up like you. Everybody else is a clown show. Well, you got to remember, my brother, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, most of the hosts aren't really as hardcore sports as I am. Some hosts really can't do sports talk. So they've got to clown around a little bit because they're not creative enough to think about different things because they don't know the sport that well. So then they'll start talking about, silly ass stuff. But I'll tell you this, there's a market for that. Because we have a lot of people that really aren't into substance. So they do want to actually clown around and buffoonery and stupid crap like that. So there is an audience for that. But yes, you are correct. There's a lot of sports talk around the country that it's kind of become guy talk in a way because it's become a little bit more lazy. Because you just like, if you don't hit on the O-line or Tua, you've got nothing else to say. Right? Like the stuff that I came up with Charlie Fry and the 2 offensive coordinators, you hear that anywhere on radio? No, you're not even going to get that in writing. Okay? And those guys follow it hardcore. But these are the different things that we can come up with on this show that they're not going to be able to come up with because they don't work hard at it. It's a lazy thing. Like, hey, all right, let's go look at some goofy stories and then we'll, come up with our top 5 this and this, that, and whatever. And, it's just lazy radio. Or they'll just harp on the offensive line for 2 hours. That's all because it's what people are bitching about. So then let's throw chum in the water and let's just complain about the offensive line for 2 hours. And that's the lazy radio. We talk about the subject and then we move on. Why? Because it's there. It'll be podcasted so people will be able to listen to it over and over again. But if you think I'm going to sit here for 2 hours and talk about the offensive line? No, dude, I got plenty of other things to talk about because we actually work at it here. So that's the difference. That's why. Even on the interception, okay, you think anybody's going to break it down and say, remember, Shaheen dropped that pass earlier. And you just wonder if a little bit of Tua goes, I saw him open, but quickly, let me go look over there where there's a one-on-one. And then when he went back, it was too late. Maybe he didn't think that, or maybe he did. But you're not going to get anybody to mention that because they don't think that way. You know what I mean? So whether it's true or not, it's just something to think about. You know what I mean? But not people aren't going to be coming up with stuff like that. That's the difference between our show and most shows. Jakeem Grant, where you've got people that are just lazy and say, well, just trade them. And then the Jalen Waddle stuff. But then they don't bring up that it's better to have the 1-2 punch and that Jalen's coming off a foot injury. So do you really want to use him as a full-time returner, full-time, receiver? No. But look at the positives of having those two. These are things they'll just lean on. Oh, well, Jakeem and trade. They won't talk about the other stuff. We're a different show than most people out there. Much different. You're going to get more hardcore actual sports talk here than you're going to get somewhere else. That's just the way it is. All right. Remember, many ways to reach out to us. The Yahoo email, BigORadioShow@yahoo.com. The Twitter feed, Big O Show. Of course, you can reach out to us on the YouTube channel since we're on live right now. Cash App and Venmo. Whenever you're listening, please smash that like button. It's very important. And obviously, Cash App and Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Steve says, hi, Big O, listening as normal. Here it is. A happy new week. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Rigo Sanchez says, tune in to get your Dolphins news and more with that Big O Show. Thank you. Thank you, those of you on Twitter. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. He just spent 2 to 3 minutes raving about us. I was like, wow. Big O, appreciate the soccer talk. I'm only 40 years old, and I think you're the only one I've ever heard locally talk about soccer in a consistent manner. Side note, Pizarro's got to go. Yes. Yeah, and I've only been the one that's talked soccer in South Florida sports for 30 years. Only one. Once in a while, the other guys might get into it, like when the Fusion had their run and they got, they had some buzz. Then people got on that 1 year, a couple of people outside of that. But remember, most of them don't know the sport, so they're not going to talk about it. And they'll go with, whatever lazy angle and easy angle to go at. That's not what we do here. We follow hockey. We follow soccer. We follow baseball. We're going to talk about everything. I love the Marlins, man. I want the Marlins to succeed. So we're going to talk about them too. Let's see. I think Finsanity was just in shock. He's never saying anything good about us. I'm like you, though. I could care less what he thinks. I just can't listen to the guy. I have no interest in listening to Colin Cowherd. Now, I like Joy Taylor. I think she's a really nice girl, and she does a good job overall. She knows her stuff. But I don't listen. It's not like Joy's the one that's the lead on there. It's Colin, and I have zero interest in listening to that guy. Zero. I wouldn't know what he says. I don't care what he says. I'd rather, I'd rather just listen to music than if I have to listen to that guy. Or I'll go find a podcast that I like, and then I'll listen to the podcast. But I would never listen. I was laughing my ass off. You want to know what's wrong with our business? And you want to know why radio is dying? Because you have stupid companies. I got in the car. I don't know if it was Thursday or Friday. No, it was Friday, because I left Acura and I channel surfed a little bit, and Hawk and Crowder were on 790 and on 560. So they're simulcasting it on both. Then I went to 640 and 940, and dude, they both had Colin Cowherd on. Not that I bothered listening for longer than 2 seconds, but the 4 stations had 2 shows on. Do you want to know why they're failing? That's it right there. When programming is too cheap to actually pay for real hosts to be on or pay for a different host. Because you figure, like on the 560, 790 side, if you have Hawk and Crowder on one show, then what you do is you put the polar opposite of that show on opposite of it so you can grab most of the audience. Do they do that? Of course not, because they're stupid, and of course they're kind of broke already at this point. I mean, that company will be filing bankruptcy by the beginning of next year, guaranteed. The company's gone to hellhole in a basket, dude. It's terrible. And then 940 and 640, they really have no money. None. I was in negotiations with different places at one point a couple years ago, and 940 was one that was, we talked. And one of the executives from 940 goes to me, "Oh, I just want you to know, dude, that 940 is the 7th station in the cluster, and we treat it that way." Okay? That's all you need to know. 640 asked me if I was going to pay for my own producer. Right there and then I knew, okay, these clowns aren't, that's what we got in radio. These companies, they can't even put anybody on the air. So it was Friday that I drove, and I go, they've got 2 shows on 4 stations. Now, that's why radio's dead. Right there. That's the reason why it's dying. At the end of the year, folks, when Joe Rose retires, it'll be 790 as the only sports station in town. They'll kill off the Joe. They'll change the format. They'll make it something else, and there'll only be one sport. I mean, they don't have any live shows left. They only have a couple, and they're going to eliminate one of those live shows that they have left. So that's coming too. That's all the inevitable, as they say. Joe will be off the air. One of those 3 shows that they got left on 790 is going to get eliminated. And then what? You got a couple shows left live, and one of them's not even really a sports show. It's, it is what it is. That's why this business has gone to crap right there. Big O, you're a man of wisdom. I've heard you on radio back in the 90s. Now that I see you every day, you're starting to look more and more like my older brother who has a goatee with gray hair just like you. Hey, I don't have gray hair. All right? I got a gray goatee, but my hair is pretty dark, bro. And I'm not dyeing it, okay? That's natural right there. There's a couple of gray hairs, involved every once in a while. You'll find a couple, but come on, man, give me some love. All right? No Grecian Formula 44 or whatever it's called. Am I mixing it up with that cough syrup, right? That's Formula 44. It's just Grecian Formula, right? It's not Grecian Formula 44. So I'm putting like cough syrup on my hair and all that. So give me a little love. Just a little bit, okay? I got the salt and pepper goatee, but the hair's not salt and pepper. All right? It's all pepper. Very little salt right now. Juan Burgos is telling me XRP. XRP will be fantastic once they get past the SEC, if they get past the SEC. And I'm not talking about the Southeast Conference, okay? I'm talking about the Security Exchange Commission, okay? That's what I'm talking about. But XRP's terrific, man. I'm not involved because, crypto can be stressful enough as it is. I don't need to get involved in a company that's involved in a lawsuit, okay? And so once that whole thing is out, it's done. What else do we have? Big O, you are speaking the real truth, says Lorenzo. We try, my brother. We try. Joe Rose, the little dog, is retiring. Yeah, he'll retire at the beginning. I think it's in January. I think he's gone. And he's calling it quits. And he's over. He's, I'm sure he's, I don't listen to him every morning, but I'm sure he's mentioned it a few times, right? I'm not breaking any news here. He's gone, bro. He's gone. That station will be shut down next year. And they will eliminate the station that should be, the station of record for South Florida, right? It's the only heritage station. 790 is not the heritage station. It's 560. But, what are you going to do? I mean, think about this. They actually called the station the Joe. I mean, and nothing against Joe. I love Joe. Joe's great. But come on, dude. That's like a terrible name for a sports station. But then again, that's a terrible company. Flipside says, I miss when QAM was Joe Rose, you, Jim Mad Dog Mandich. Can never forget about Neil Rogers. Dude, always cracked me up. We all miss it, my brother. The 90s were a great time for radio. We talked about this already. Radio doesn't want to pay the DJ and local radio talk show host anymore. They only want computer playlist and national radio host. This is where the bigger profits are. There you go, sir. Justin Cordero says, bring back Whammy, Channel 69. There you go. Alfredo says, one of the reasons that I love the Big O is that he keeps Uncle Neil's memory alive along with George. Rest in peace, man. We just lost George, too. Just lost George. What is it, like a year ago? Something like that. We lost George Rodriguez. Too young, man. Too young. Still, we lost Neil pretty young, too, man. He still had some, he should have still had some gas left in the tank when it's all said and done. I will say that. All right, what else do we have here? scrimmage went on. I hate to say this, but for me, it's like flushing, a turd down the toilet. And I don't mean anything to the program or anything like that. Is that if the media and the fans didn't get to see practice, I don't want to hear from a coach how somebody did, because it means nothing to me whatsoever. So over the weekend, that scrimmage doesn't mean squat to me. They're not going to tell you when somebody struggled. They're not going to tell you who threw a bunch of interceptions, who had fumbles, who missed blocks. They're not going to tell you any of that. So the scrimmage meant squat to me. Unfortunately, Inter Miami lost 2-0. They will take on Chicago on Wednesday. They got Toronto on Saturday, both games at Drive Pink Stadium. What else do we have here? One thing that I'd be remiss if I did not mention it, our thoughts and prayers to all of our Haitian friends and all of our friends here locally from the Haitian community that have got to be hurting right now after the earthquake over the weekend. And what is it? Over 1,200 people have passed away already at this point, I think is the number. The last time I checked while I was preparing, which I'm sure that number is going to end up growing, and they're about to get walloped by a storm too, which is like half a foot of rain is expected. It's like the Haitian people never get a stinking break, dude. Never get a break. It's like one disaster, one catastrophe, one, obviously, I don't know what you want to call it, political mess after killing, the president. It just, man, I just pray for our Haitian community. I hope they're able to get through all of this, because it cannot be easy right now if you have family members on that island and, all hell's breaking loose. Plus, you've got all this damage being done by Mother Nature, which isn't a lot of fun. So I'd be remiss if I did not mention that, to everybody in the Haitian community, our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. Sorry to hear about everything that's gone on. It's just absolutely terrible. Remember, you can reach out to us on Yahoo email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com, Twitter, Big O Show, YouTube. Reach out to us on YouTube here on the YouTube chat board. And, of course, Cash App and Venmo, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show if you want to get in on the program. What else do we have here that I want to talk about? Let me see if we got anything here on the chat board to get off our chest here. Kentucky fan here, but Lynn Bowden can return at a high level also. Yep. Yeah, they need him to. I know we haven't seen much from Malcolm Perry. Bowden was able to do a little some in this game, which was good because he was a guy that needed to start to get on the radar. He wasn't doing much so far in training camp. So it's nice to see him actually come through in the game. Let's see. Hank says dual threats on kickoff will just mean most kickoffs through the end zone. Well, maybe. You never know. If they screw up, they're there to make you pay. That's the thing. Radically says having Grant as the returner makes a lot of sense. The COVID expanded practice squads will allow them to keep the Admiral for if Grant goes down with the injury. Let's see. Omar made a great point. Let's see the O-line against Atlanta, which has more average D linemen. Let's just see more of the O-line, period. Before we react or overreact to all of this, let's see if we can give this team a little more time to kind of figure things out too. Let's not also make a determination on these guys right away. Omar, to a certain extent, my man has quit on those guys. Like, oh, no, that's it. I don't think they're ever going to turn. And, certain guys, he's already got them like, they'll never become something. And I'm just not there yet. I'm not going to do that to some of these guys because I've watched plenty of players over the years that have looked lost in the first year or two or even 3. And then the light goes on and all of a sudden they take off. Big O, if you put Grant and Waddle both back there for kickoffs, the kicker will just blast it out of the back of the end zone. I'll only consider trading Grant for an established old lineman. A 5th will not do. Definitely a 5th will not do. I need like a 3rd rounder. Somebody's asking me, think anyone new makes the Pro Bowl this year? I said Van Ginkel. I think Van Ginkel's got that shot at making the Pro Bowl. One of the young guys that hasn't. I like that. Elder Bruce Jones says Miami is going to make some noise this year. We're not going to be the back pockets of anyone. I agree. Let's see. Darryl Green was another part-time returner in big moments. Yeah, I got no problem with that. Let's see. What else do we have here? What do you predict the Finns finish in defense and offense ranking-wise at the end of the season? Well, they'll be top 10 on defense, and I think they'll be top 15 on offense. Okay? I think Tua's going to throw for 30 touchdowns. I think Tua's going to have a really good year. I'm not one of these guys. I wasn't panicking about Tua. I wasn't concerned about Tua. None of that stuff. The only thing I've ever been concerned about with Tua, and I'll say it for the 477th time, is injuries. That's the only thing that I was concerned about with the young man because he has an injury history. That's it. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't think he can't play. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't think he has an arm to play at this level, all that silliness that some people came up with. I wasn't one of those guys. That wasn't me. Sorry. I think the kid's going to ball out this year. I really do. Everything now is set for him to ball out. By the way, Jay-Z getting involved in what's it called? In gambling now. Look, he's going to try to open up a sports book in New York. That's pretty impressive if he's able to do that, man. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Jay-Z is in the process now. He's teamed up with some folks to open up a sports betting book in New York City. That would be pretty amazing if he's able to pull that off. I mean, Jay-Z has been one hell of a business guy. You know, obviously everybody knows what he is as a rapper, Hall of Famer as a rapper, all that stuff, and well-deserved. But he's also been pretty amazing on the business side. And so now Jay-Z's latest hustle, it says, he signed on with some heavy hitters in a bid to open a sports book in New York, and the move could make him a pioneer in the billion-dollar industry. TMZ has learned that Jay's name is on one of the applications submitted to the New York Gaming Commission requesting approval for an online sports betting license. Sources with direct knowledge tell us that he's partnering with his buddy, Sixers partner Michael Rubin, to form Fanatics Sportsbook, and they've teamed with Kambi, a company software used for online sports gambling. Jay and Rubin's group is up against stiff competition, including FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars Sportsbook, and WynnBET, We're told the state of New York will approve at least 2 of the 6 groups, and it's possible Jay-Z will be a secret weapon that puts his group over the top. Not only is he the most prominent public figure applying for a license, but he's the only black applicant, which the other corporations might have black employees or executives, but they aren't actual licensees, whereas Jay would be. Plus, he's a New York guy. So that's cool. But smart on Jay-Z's part, man. I don't know what's smarter, getting involved in the sports book or marrying Beyonce. Yeah, no, I'll go with the latter also. You can have all the money in the world, but if you got Beyonce, you might be, as Charlie Sheen would say, winning. You're rich in another way. When you're walking down the street and that's on your arm, woo, doggy, you are winning in a big time way. I love that. Jay-Z, nice job by you, sir. That is impressive. Absolutely impressive. Must admit, when Tua throws the ball with accuracy, it's a thing of beauty. Not only it's the accuracy, it's the ball placement. It's all about that. And that's why these arm queens are, well, he doesn't have a gun. He doesn't need a gun, man. Did you see Drew Brees? Did you watch Joe Montana? You make it sound like everybody had a gun to be great. And there's 2 guys, 2 of the greatest. Neither one had a gun. Bob Greasy didn't have a gun. It didn't stop them from winning titles. Oh my God. You have to be 6'5", and you have to have a cannon for an arm. Because if you don't have that, then that's it. Meanwhile, there's Jeff George with a cannon, Achilles Smith with a cannon, Jamarcus Russell with a cannon, Ryan Leaf with a cannon. What did that do? Those are 4 guys walking around with a 10-incher that has no blood rushing to it. How does that help out? Right? Yeah, it's great to have 10 inches. But if it doesn't work, who cares? Right? That's what it is. It's no big deal, but no, the size queens, pun intended. They've got to have, he's got to throw 100 yards. If he can't throw for 100 yards, no, we don't want him. What's the name of the guy for Baltimore a few years back? I was at the Senior Bowl, and he was on his knees at the 50-yard line. I shit you not. On his knees, 50-yard line, and he throws a bullet through the uprights. I forgot the kid's name now. And this guy was taken in the first round by the Ravens, and he was nothing. Yeah, he had an arm. Sure, he can throw it, through a jungle. Okay, but can you hit somebody on target? No. Okay, that might be a problem. I forgot the kid's name. He was drafted, man, I want to say easily 10 to 12, 14 years ago. Easy. It wasn't John Harbaugh, the coach. It was Billick. Billick was the coach. I forgot. Kyle Bowler. Thank you, Randy. Randy Constance. Thank you, sir. Kyle Bowler. Yep. We were at the Senior Bowl. Kid is on his knees at the 50-yard line throwing it through the uprights. Yeah, it's an amazing feat. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty awesome. It shows you got a hell of an arm. Okay, that's nice. Can you play quarterback? Can you actually guide that ball to where it needs to go? And that's been the problem with the arm queens out there. That they all think, oh my God, This guy doesn't have a gun. Well, if you don't have a gun, how in the hell are you going to be a good quarterback in the NFL? I don't know. Ask Chad Pennington. Ask Bernie Kosar. Neither one had a gun. They were good quarterbacks. Right? That's kind of the whole thing. There are guys, doesn't have to be Breeze and Joe Montana. It's a slew of guys that have come through this league that they didn't have a gun, but they were accurate. They knew how to place the ball. You know what I mean? They knew how to lead a receiver. They had touch. They had anticipation. All the things you need when you're not, blessed with a gun. That's all. It's crazy. George says, Big O, back to Grant and Waddle. Do you think teams would just blast the ball out of the back of the end zone for a touchback if both were on the kickoff? Yes. I think there's a chance they could do that. But you still put them back there because if they screw up and they don't blast it out and it ends up hanging up a little bit more and they're able to catch it, there you go. It's like when, I want to say it was Parcells that did it first. Was it with Marcus Coleman? I want to say. If there's any stinking Jet fans, you might want to help me out with that one. But I believe it was Parcells that first put somebody back in the end zone when they would try a field goal that was long. Because if you missed it, they would return it. Right? You remember that? I think it was Parcells, and I think he did it with Coleman because I think Coleman was tall enough that he could even block it if it was low enough. Something like that. And so he would keep Coleman back there, and he'd do it every once in a while. And I remember Coleman had a return or two from there. I want to say the kid's name was Marcus. It was Coleman, but I want to say it was Marcus. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Tom Brady coming out of college, his label was that he had but he had an arm. He had an arm. Okay? Tom Brady had a strong arm. Okay, he still has a good arm now, but in his early days, he had a pretty good arm, man, overall. He just wasn't a great athlete, and he just didn't come in with all the credentials that others had. It's crazy. It wasn't Bowler. It was Jamarcus Russell, was drafted by the Raiders. Xavier Combs, sir. It was Kyle Bowler. I was there. Please don't tell me what I know, what I saw was Kyle Bowler. Now, could Jamarcus Russell do it also? Yes, probably. As big and strong as he was, he's twice the size of Kyle Bowler. It was Kyle Bowler. Trust me. I was there. I saw it firsthand. Okay? That's the kind of stuff that I talked about when it happened at that time. We've been talking about all the quarterbacks because in Dolphin land, they've needed a quarterback forever. But trust me, it was Kyle Bowler. I was there. Big O, I think the arm is important, but the most important part of being a QB is the brain or football IQ. You, sir, are 1,000% right. Guns N' Roses just tweeted out, Commerce City, Denver. Tonight is going to be wild. Doors open at 5 p.m. Guns N' Roses. There you go. Enjoy. If anybody's out there in Denver, enjoy a fat one and enjoy Guns N' Roses. Should be a lot of fun. What else do we have? Brady was good in college, but he was battling back and forth with the starter position and kind of went under the radar during the draft. Yeah, but he had a great bowl game. He played well. That he was going back and forth until about halfway through the season, and then he took off. He brought them back in a game, and they kept him in for the rest of the year, and then he had the big bowl game. But it still wasn't enough. But he actually had a really good second half of the season, his final year at Michigan, and he had a really good bowl game. And that still didn't get him on the map at that time. Listen, he didn't look good at the combine. He wasn't all, in great shape or anything. He looked like a regular dude is what he looked like. I mean, he had like a dad bod. That's his problem. Some scouts were looking at it going, damn, I look better than he does right now. And I'm 45. And that was the problem with Brady. That's all. A lot of people made mistakes on that guy. But that happens every once in a while, man. Hey, Marino, bunch of people in the first round passed up on Marino, and he fell to Miami. And I know that's not the 6th round, but it's still the back end of the first, and he was pretty special. Only Elway was the right pick ahead of Marino. That's it. The other 4 guys, it was an insult that they took the other 4 guys in front of Marino. But what are you going to do? Happens. Right? Anyway, we are going to wrap it up here on the show. We want to thank all of you, as always, for tuning in. We thank Omar Kelly for joining us on the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. We also want to thank Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald for joining us. As always, tomorrow we're going to have 2 guests, Ira Winderman and Alan Poupard. So we will get your Heat and NBA talk with Ira Winderman, and we will get more Dolphins talk as we get ready for the practices with the Falcons and the game against the Falcons as game number 2 of the preseason. We thank all of you out there. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.